I feel about this. They're animals, Jim. There is an historic opportunity here. Don't believe them. Don't trust them. They are dying. Let them die.
Welcome, everybody. It was a bit of a clunky start there, but welcome everybody to a new format looking Canuckleheads. How is everybody doing today? We have a special guest joining us, Mr. Stan Dahlin. Welcome.
Hello,
Welcome
everybody.
back.
Hello.
Good to have you back. And we also have our newly minted Supreme Canucklehead, Harima. Welcome.
How's it going, everyone?
For those of you who are joining me in the studio here, you might not have seen it. I took the liberty of clipping an iconic piece of Star Trek history. I think it was Star Trek. What the heck? I can't remember what number it was. They all look the same. The one where the Klingons are dying and Kirk says the famous line, "Let them die." I think it's very fitting for what we're about to talk about and all this discussion here today.
Fair enough.
But I was going to kick it off here. By dipping into one of my favorite drinks here, Writer's Tears, because we're going to be discussing some interesting things today, aren't we, Stan?
Oh, yes. Oh, yes.
I think having some Writer's Tears or Convention Runner's Tears would be fitting for this stream here. Star Trek 6, thank you, Gamer Hands Jr. I knew. I keep getting the numerals mixed up, so I didn't want to embarrass myself. Stan needs to turn up his mic. I will turn up the audio here 1 second.
All right.
I can do that a bit more here. That should be better. This is why I'm doing it on my OBS, because I can actually do these things in real time. How about that? Perfect. Hello, Queen Luna in chat. Hello, chat. Period. Everyone's coming out today to hear about all this wonderful stuff. Learn Roman numerals. I'll work on that. I'll get on it.
Undiscovered country.
Undiscovered country. Yes. Let them die. That's a good one. But yeah, we have some stuff to talk about today. We're gonna open up the phone lines a little bit later today. We're gonna be talking a little bit about what's been going on to start the show here, and we're gonna give our opinions about some things and stuff, and then we'll open up the phone lines just a little bit later. So stick around for that. But let's dive in here. So for those of you who are just joining who don't know what has been going on, there is a convention that is run by a professional group, a professional group called Creation Entertainment. So they run like a bunch of different fandom type of conventions, and they're very business oriented. Blah 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 blah. If you're in Canada, think of like Fan Expo. I guess America has Fan Expo too, but Fan Expo has like a bunch of different events that they run under that banner. Well, Creation Entertainment's very much the same, So they were running a 55-year Trek convention, and they're having basically anyone that's ever been involved in Star Trek. In
103 people.
Yeah, 103 people. It was 104.
It was 104. Yes.
We're gonna get to that in a second. But there was so it's over 100 people that they're inviting. Basically, anyone that's ever been in a Star Trek anything is in on this one, except a notable individual now, which is very interesting, because just last week, Vic Mignogna's name was put on the website. He was the 104th guest that was announced at this 55-year anniversary Trek convention. Apparently, this is a tour as well. This is not just exclusively in Las Vegas. This apparently goes all over, and this particular one was a really big one. And they invited Vic Mignogna, and they subsequently, after a bunch of hooting and hollering and howler monkeys screaming on Twitter and social media, apparently have decided to remove him. Now I don't want to steal any of your thunder here, Stan. Because I believe that you have a little bit more information than I do. Did you?
Oh yes.
Did you want to dip into anything here? You can jump in.
Yes, actually. If you had noticed on their website, particularly on their guests, they always put in this disclaimer that um, guest appearances are subject to change, and this is based on what they have agreed upon.
Mm-hmm.
So they had a oral agreement, and they were about to finalize the agreement when someone jumped the gun and put Vic on the website. So the day they were supposed to finalize their agreement was the call. That call turned into the, "I'm sorry, we're not gonna invite you to the show."
That's unfucking real. Now,
And Vic
Go ahead.
and they said we weren't gonna. The convention said we were not gonna make any public statements, and Vic told them, "But you have already made a public statement that, and why you did it." And the guest relations person says, "I'm sorry, we didn't do that." And I'm like, "Yes, you did," Vic said.
That's amazing.
Then
That's
Wow.
that passes over to what you have, Crumb.
Yes. So here's the interesting part, right? Because I mean, I'm not a lawyer in California. I know in Ontario, where I live, oral contracts are just as good as written contracts. So if you have an agreement in an agreement in fact or whatever the hell it's called, agreement in principle, I think it's called, that is a contract. You're formalizing the contract by putting it down on paper. And lawyers out there, please correct me. I mean, it might be different in California. I doubt it because it's a commie state, so it's probably as Canadian as Americans are going to get. But oral contracts are basically contracts, and if they had an agreement in principle with Vic to fulfill this, and here's the other part as well. So another little interesting tidbit that they have on their website is that they do not post without permission any guests without getting permission and having an agreement. It states very clearly they have to have an agreement with the talent or the agent of the talent in order to post the announcement of a guest. The plain as day. So, I mean, you can say, "Oh, well, you know, we didn't make a statement," but you know what? Removing somebody after you've posted them is making a statement. I completely agree with that. I know that Ricada talked about it briefly, about if it would be viable to take them to court for breach of contract and things like that. Again, I don't know how much the monetary value would be out of that.
It'd be so lopsided. I mean, it could be ended spending what $50,000 to gain what 5
to gain like nothing, basically to gain like a parking ticket, pretty much. It's the point of this is though. The point of this is, folks, is you're dealing with professional, quote unquote, companies, and this is how they act, right? Now, in a few minutes here, I'm going to share an email that I sent the ownership. Because I posted the email that I sent the customer service group, which are completely useless, by the way. Let me just say this real quick. Creation Entertainment, if you're listening, you should be listening, by the way. Let me just say this real quick. If your customer service team can't handle 5 imaginary people on the internet sending you emails, last year, March of 2020, February, March, whatever the end of it was, there was one single person handling hundreds of morons online trying to defame a convention. And that convention not only went on, but it went on to win several awards. In Canada, by the way. So
Very.
if you're telling me that your customer service team can't handle a handful of nobodies who aren't going to go to your convention, you know what's funny? As a side tangent here, just before we get onto this, as a side tangent, there's an individual that was very passionately going on the Creation Entertainment Group, and interestingly enough, they aren't deleting posts regarding it, but they're deleting comments, which is very, very curious. So they have a post, and well, they didn't delete the comments on this post, but there was a post about Vic being on there and a person freaking out about it. I don't know who these people are, if they're connected to the convention or whatever. But there was one individual that was very passionate against Creation Entertainment's decision, and there was a comment thread which is now deleted, that I participated in briefly. But there was a woman in there that jumped in and was trying to defend the decision to remove Vic based on nothing. And I think you saw this thread, Stan. And then when this individual brought in your affidavit, they ignored it, and they're like, well, this doesn't matter. Interestingly, though, let me just recollect my thought on this. So they're deleting those comments, right? They're threatening to bring in legal mediation to get it settled. Which, I mean, you're a literal who?
What?
Exactly. Like, makes no sense. It's like, well, we'll bring in a legal mediator to get this decided. Like, what are you talking about? Like, literally, what are you talking about? It makes no sense. But so Creation Entertainment's deleting those comments, right? They aren't deleting the negative Vic comments. So
bias.
And Joker Jason, not to play it. Yeah, the con 100% has a decision to uninvite somebody. Absolutely, they do. They absolutely do. But the point here is that it's not the convention that is deciding to uninvite them. In that thread number one, that person was being a moron. In the other thread that is still up and people can still see it, no, it wasn't that person, Gamer Hands Jr. In the other thread, and people can still go see this right now. I'm pretty sure the comments are still there. In the comment where it says Vic is going to be there, blah 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 blah, you have 2 or 3 individuals saying, "Oh, now I'm not going to go," blah 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 blah. It's like, well, I haven't gone before, but now I'm definitely not going to go. Like, you can see these comments. And these are the people they're listening to. Like, literally. I mean, yeah, I would say at this point...
We haven't even touched Emmett yet.
No.
We haven't even talked about Emmett.
No, we haven't even touched Emmett. Because he's...
Oh, boy.
No one's touching Emmett. Let's be real. Nobody's touching Emmett. Not even his alleged wife. You know, that's a fucking depressing thing to talk about.
Side note, I'm looking it up here, and apparently, according to several law firms in California, yes, it is legally binding for an oral contract. It may not be as easy to fight in court, but it is legally binding.
Yeah, that's what it's the same thing. I mean, it's here in Canada because I just assumed California is pretty much Canada, and they would go by the same rules. But at that point, but no, you have people in this comment thread. They said, "Oh, well, I was gonna go. I was at another event, and I was considering going to this event, but now I'm just gonna go to my other event I was going to." What?
No loss there.
No loss. No loss. I mean, so let's take a look. Right, they're charging about $300 for a weekend pass, for a basic ass weekend pass. I mean, they have 100 fucking like pretty big stars going. So I mean, I understand you need the money, but here's the thing. Creation Entertainment. Let me talk to you real quick. when you have somebody coming out and saying, I was the face of Las Vegas TrekCon, blah 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 blah, and nobody fucking knows who that is, like, at all, why are you letting them speak for you? Number one, are they a member of your organization? If they're not, why are you encouraging that? Number one. Number two, what's to say, and I'm going to get into this a bit later too, but what's to say a bunch of people don't like William Shatner, which it's evident people out there don't like William Shatner. There's a bunch of shit going around about him that's not true, and he's BTFO'd a bunch of people before about people calling him homophobic, whatever else. All bullshit.
Oh yeah.
So what's to say 20 people don't, or like an imaginary 20 people, one person and 19 bots, email the convention about William Shatner? Are they gonna cancel him? Probably not, right?
No.
Probably not. But, you know, if enough people scream and cry and complain. My thoughts here. So I emailed them about a week ago. First their customer service, and their customer service came back with a boilerplate email. Saying, thank you for your concern. I'm like, I'm sending support. What are you talking about, my concern? Joker Jason, I'm not comparing Vic Mignogna to William Shatner. I'm saying the situations. And I'm saying it as a convention runner who has had these situations happen. It's not about the guest per se. It's about the damage to the convention that you can cause. So, yeah, there's crosstalk on Twitter about Shatner having beef with autistic people. Exactly. There's no freaking proof of it. And they try it. They test the waters on smaller actors like a Vic Mignogna. Like other people. They test the waters on them. It's the whole broken staircase thing, right? They have a fucking list of names. They have a list of names. People at the top are the ones they want to test it on, and they really want to have the beef. They want to go down the list once they get the actions.
It's funny because you actually make a fair point, because I was dealing with someone on the grounds of the Looney Tunes cancellation when it came to Pepe Le Pew, and someone made a fantastic point on how they're starting with minor characters and they're moving on the way up to the larger ones. So
Exactly.
it made the idea that they're just trying to cancel whole entire groups in its entirety.
Yeah,
That's a fair point.
that's what they're doing. And it's been happening for years. I'll tell you a story. I know it's story time all the time here, but I'll tell you a story. A couple years ago, before we invited Vic at Kitchener Comic-Con, we had an agreement. We had an oral contract, which was actually technically a written contract because it was via email. We had a contract with a TV personality to come to Kitchener Comic-Con. I'm not going to give him any screen time here because, you know, I don't want to help his Twitch career now that he can't get back on television. But he was a host on the Space Channel. He did like a bunch of stuff on like YTV, but he did a few things. But he's not like an A-list celebrity. He's barely a who. But, you know, if you're in the area, you would know who he is. So we invited him, and when we were advertising that he was going to be a guest on the show, on the event, we had our little hate group, our little cancel group, say, "Oh, look at the horrible, terrible things that they've been doing, blah 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 blah," and then he canceled. He backed out, in his loss. But he backed out on us, claiming that we didn't have a contract, so it's okay for him to do this. But here's the thing, folks. It's not about the actor per se. It's about the final result. If a bunch of imaginary idiots that weren't fans of this person or the convention to begin with can go around and just impose their will on things, it's fucking dangerous for the future of conventions. Now, Stan, have you talked to Vic at all since all this happened?
Oh yeah. That's how I know all this stuff.
Well, what's his thoughts?
And
Well,
Gav, he he had the same agent as William Shatner, but for some reason or another, Vic was making the arrangement with this convention, and not his agent. So I don't know what's going on there. I tried to ask him about it, but we didn't get an answer on that. I didn't get an answer on that. So, but yeah, I talked to Vic when I first heard about it, and I called him right away, and we started talking, and he was really mad. He was really upset, particularly with who.
oh yeah.
Can't particularly say I blame him.
Well,
particularly the same.
We don't
who
know
are these people? He was really upset.
Well, here's the thing, and to answer a little bit to that thing there, Stan. I think Vic mentioned it. I believe the last time that he was on this show. He said that he likes to, like, for most appearances and stuff like that, he leaves up to his agents for like audiobooks and stuff like that for different things. But he said when it comes to small conventions or like other things like that, he likes to handle that himself because he likes it to be like more.
Well, he was referring to the anime conventions.
Anime conventions. But I guess I don't know if he's looking at this as like a smaller convention.
No, I think something else is going on here. I'm not sure, but maybe I'll ask him. I'll ask him about it.
Because it is very strange. Because I heard, and I'm glad we can confirm it. I heard from a third party that he has the same agent as William Shatner.
Yes.
Which, I mean, if you're canceling my fucking client, and my other client includes William Shatner, I'd be like raising some fucking questions. I'd be like, excuse me, what the fuck is going on here? Here's the thing for other stuff. For Emmett, the literal who. Edamame.
All together now,
plant.
everybody together. Who?
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 Great.
Exactly.
Now we sound like owls.
Who? Star Killer?
But to be fair, he's more like a block mamba, if anything.
If he was a snake, he'd be a garter. Let's just say that. He's fucking toothless. But here's the thing with Emmett. He did fuck all. Emmett, let's be real. Emmett did fuck all. Right?
Hey,
he
himself says he did fuck all, so perhaps you have a point.
I mean, he's proud of it. So here's a couple questions that I wanted to ask, and I'll show you the email. I'll show the email that I sent to Creation Entertainment, and I don't think that it was rude. I think that it was very supportive, and I didn't get any reply. And I said if I don't get a response back, I'm going to read it online. I'm going to read it live here. And I haven't got a reply back from them at all. So this leads me to believe one of two things is possible here. One of two things is happening here. I think that this was planned by certain individuals to announce Vic to get notoriety for the convention and then pull the rug out from under him. A kind of virtue signal. Because apparently the Trek community is getting their dose of wokeism. Again, I don't have any proof of any of this, but this is just where the dominoes are falling for me right now.
It's an interesting hypothesis, though.
Or the other thought behind this is they just really do have some nobody in the convention that has the dick of the owner in their hand. Just really that powerful that, an absolute who. Which, I mean, it's possible because there's cosplayers in Toronto that run the entire scene that literally have nothing. They are nothing. Their biggest claim to fame is being a Hollywood effects artist on like a C-list movie that no one's ever watched. I mean, if that's all it takes, I guess.
Their only credit was that?
Yeah.
Well, then Vic beats them already. He's got more roles than they do.
Exactly. So this is what I mean. Again, I think the plan, as it is with everything, right? They have their little Discord group, they have their little fucking powwows behind the scenes, their little fucking Zoom calls, right? This isn't just a thing that just happened. Obviously, they've practiced it. I mean, we've gone through 2 years of this already. Plus, this has been happening before it's been reported on the internet. But I think the plan was to put Emmett out there to take the heat because he's a fucking nobody. Put him out there to take the heat, take the credit, and parade him around like the fucking clown he is. While the real people behind the scenes get to obfuscate what they're doing. And the reason that that's happening is because they're on the poster. Because people know who they are. And if it came out that they were shit disturbers like that, they'd get blacklisted in an industry so fucking fast their heads would spin. I think that's really what's going on.
I think, Emmett was trying to, before he dropped off and tried to, say enough of this. I want to, I did my piece, did my job, got canceled, and then right before he signed off and stayed off Twitter, which didn't last very long.
No.
Before he came back, but it was say that I have to thank the ladies for who were the real people to help get rid of Vic.
Yeah.
From the con scene. So, and then for Emmett to get all bent out of shape after what Nick Rekieta said on his stream about him, and then he had to come back onto Twitter to spout off, and it was hilarious.
Yes.
It's so funny to see the cycle because it's predictable. It's absolutely predictable because like I was watching this, not this particular thing. I'm saying I was watching our little fan club hate group for years before this became a major thing in the rest of the social media spectrum. But I've watched that, and the cycle is pretty much exactly the same for every single one of them, for every single time. And the point is, it's like there's no point in suing Emmett because he's insulated himself.
For it, though.
He's insulated himself from this issue, right? Because he's not the one that committed the TI. They're hiding who actually committed the TI. Because
hey Tom, but we don't think it's Amanda Winley. We think it's the ladies within the organization.
Yeah, it's somebody within the organization. It's somebody who has been part of the organization. Someone people know. And it's someone who has some degree of power, apparently, enough power to cancel and potentially risk other high-profile guests.
I forget her name, but would it not be that one lady who randomly spouted out a personal announcement in her quote-unquote grievances or celebration of Vic Mignogna? That could be a potential suspect.
I mean, it could be. I mean, the thing is, it could be the blue check mark that spouted off saying, I'm going to not go if blah 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 blah. And we've seen that happen before, right? Yeah. I'm going to breach a contract if this other guest goes. Let me tell you something, folks. And I've said this 1,000 times before. Conventions don't need your permission to invite people. Conventions don't ask other guests, can I invite this person? Doesn't happen. It doesn't happen. Sorry. Check your ego. Like, bottom line. Like, am I going to invite someone who I know has a personal beef with another person? Probably not. But if I do, it doesn't matter. They're in separate areas. Like, are they going to see each other? Probably not. I mean, I hope not. I hope the convention's busy enough that they don't see each other at all.
Yep.
So, like,
now there's always the possibility that you might have, one guest who might have a restraining order against another guest.
Yeah.
You kept, and they would have to inform the. I've had that problem before.
Jesus.
That I could see. That I could see happening. I could actually see that happening. Jacobson asking, do you think that Vic Mignogna could sue Emmett Plant for the same reasons he's suing? No, I don't think so. I think Emmett wants to be sued.
He did. When I was speaking with him, he was demanding. But then again, it was probably because I was pulling on his morality code to agitate him, if just a little bit.
I think he wants to be sued. 100%. I think he wants to be sued because because Emmett wants attention. Emmett wants to be the center of attention. Emmett wants to be the martyr sheepdog, right? We saw it with Ron.
Seems like a martyr than being the jealous type who claimed to work on the official product only for some random dude who made a fan fiction online to get invited before he ever did.
Well, I really like that he is claiming that Vic has never been on an official product of Star Trek when Vic had 2 parts. He had two roles in Star Trek Online, by the way.
Mm-hmm.
I had no idea. Now I kind of want to check that out.
Yeah, he voiced the main character, the main captain in the original series timeline Star Trek Online. Like you can pick the era, which one you go into. You pick the original series. Vic is the voice of the captain and then admiral of Star Trek Online's original series.
That is awesome.
And I think he voices a Klingon too. I think.
Okay, that'll be interesting to hear.
But yeah, again, like we see this not only with Vic, we see this across the board, right? Only a weirdo wants to be said. I agree. But here's the thing: when you look at this stuff, and I'm going to get into this after I read this email, but conventions are on a death spiral right now. They're heading on a downward trend. COVID has definitely not helped this situation.
Not at all.
And yeah, we're gonna dip into that right after I knock out this email here. You just pull it up real quick. I'm gonna cover everybody's beautiful faces, but that's okay. Well, and it wouldn't be the first time that we've heard volunteers talking shit about guests. Cough, cough, Montello. Oh, here we go. I have the email up on screen. So this email I sent about a week ago. I sent this email about a week ago. I said, good evening. Wanted to reach out to you both. So there's Gary and Adam, which are the convention owners. They own the entire overarching thing. So I wanted to reach out to you both. I'm an event organizer / owner, and I assisted running Kitchener Comic Con for several years. I recently saw that you announced Vic as a guest and suddenly withdrew him. I wanted to reach out and express my disappointment with the decision to remove him. We had the pleasure of having Vic Mignogna as our headline guest for Kitchener Comic Con in February 29th, March 1st edition of 2020, and he was an absolute star. We operate in Canada, and we faced a lot of scrutiny and backlash, as it had only been a year. At this point, it had only been a year since false allegations were levied against him. We're going on year 2 now. And he had spent a year fighting defamation as the plaintiff in court. And I wanted to say first what an incredible impact he had at our event. Despite our social media and email being harassed by a virtual mob, not a real one, our event went on without any issue whatsoever. In fact, our event had the single largest return we had seen to date. We had global support, people buying and donating from all over the world, just for standing by our decision to invite Vic. And I would urge you to reconsider your decision, as despite the imaginary outrage from a handful of individuals, the interaction with fans that I've personally witnessed and saw were once in a lifetime. I worked closely with Vic and had many concerns brought to us before the event, but we received nothing but praise from literally every facet of the event. Not a single negative or detracting comment, and that's fucking true. That is true. Even people that didn't like him had nothing but good things to say. I do want to say that by removing him, you're allowing a dangerous precedent that could be exploited against you and future events. This is across the board, not just these events, by the way.
And not just Vic.
Because this is something that can be exploited against literally every event existing. I implore you, please do not allow people who only exist, who don't exist beyond social media, who only exist on social media, to run your business. Imagine if these folks were attempting to pressure your top-line guests and you reward that behavior. You are a business, and in a unique matter, you are the original owners. You should be proud and stand by what you built, and only good will come. If I could single-handedly hold off the same mob that you're hearing from right now while dealing with a concussion, your customer service team should be able to handle them easily. They have a customer service team, by the way. There's been absolutely no verifiable issues with Vic. People simply have a vendetta against him, much like others have held against the likes of William Shatner, and I'm sure that you would rather fold than cancel him. Please reconsider this. As an organizer of a multi-award-winning event, I urge you to do what's right and reinvite Vic. I do this on my own. Nobody asked me to write this. No one asked me. I haven't talked to Vic since the last time he's been on the show, so no one's asked me to write any of this. I know firsthand his character and what he brings to the table. His knowledge of Star Trek, his voice acting in Star Trek video games, his ability to pinpoint, quote, any piece of the original series trivia would put any fan to shame. You are doing yourselves and your entire fan base a disservice by keeping him away. Hope you all the best. That's the email I sent to them, and I received no reply.
Color me shocked.
No reply. So my guess on how sincere they are about how this is a problem is dipping into the negatives right now. I don't think that they're sincere whatsoever. Which it's a problem. It's a big problem. Yeah, Rod Roddenberry gave Star Trek Continues his blessing too. So, I mean, there you go. It's the case is still ongoing. We're still waiting on that. I mean, the appeals really need to come back. Hopefully, I'm hoping that the appeals court sees reason. But
agreed. Seriously.
I think they're still going to get away
until
with
the next Thursday.
Go ahead, Stan. Go ahead.
So now we got to wait until the next Thursday to see if anything comes back. So
is next Thursday the deadline?
No, it's when they make their rulings. It's on a Thursday. So
okay.
So they didn't do it last Thursday. So now everybody's crossing their fingers. Maybe it'll be this coming Thursday, or the next Thursday, or the next Thursday.
Well, the sooner the better. I mean, it makes sense that it's taking as long as it is, but the longer it does, the greater the greater the anxiety that it's inflicted upon everyone. I know my fair share.
I don't know. Ron doesn't seem to be anyway phased by that. You've been.
I would beg to differ. I think it's all this excess barking that has me thinking the quite opposite. It betrays a cowardly dog with his tail tucked between its legs.
Well, the louder that they talk, the more pressure they're feeling. Obviously, I mean that part's that part is very, very apparent. Tom P is asking, not to sound pessimistic, but it could be a backlog of cases causing a delay. Well, our favorite bald moron, who claims to be a lawyer on Twitter, was beating himself off to the fact that one of the appeals cases that was filed apparently 2 or 3 weeks or a month or something before VIX got ruled on. So it might have been a backlog of cases. Hopefully we're getting there. Hopefully we're coming up on that. I can't foresee it being much longer of a wait. Ron's openly defaming Vic. Ron is an interesting little marmot. He's
being nice.
he just can't fucking keep his goddamn mouth shut. He really can't.
Of course not. But hey, after all, he's got nothing against the man, right?
Yeah,
Not
nothing
at all.
against him. Nothing against him.
I
at all.
just want him to get help. Yeah, right.
Yeah. We just want him to get better, but every time that he tries to get better, we're just gonna like slam the door in his face. Jesus Christ. Yeah,
And
they just want to
Emmett
erase
did the
history.
exact same thing. He said, all he has to do is just apologize to that woman. And it's like, who? Dana? Or
Yeah, some random person he pulled a fucking name out of the hat for. Like, I guess. I mean, it bothered her that much that she didn't even have to say anything about it. Like, you had to say it for her, like fucking 85 years later.
Well, that's what the self-righteous do. They have to step in and be the man of action on behalf of the damsel in distress.
Unreal.
yeah. Hey, Gav. Yeah, I posted those old photos, and certain people got really upset.
Unfortunately, I was one of them. Yeah, it's hard on. I mean, look, in my personal experience, the first convention I've ever went to was Anime Central in Illinois, and Monica was the first voice actor I ever went to see, and I cosplayed as Harima Kenji from School Rumble, hence the name, and she was the only one out of everyone in the entire building that recognized who I was.
Oh, wow.
So, if anyone who thinks that I have a negative bias against her entirely, you have no idea how painful it is for me to see that someone who I had such a deep, profound respect for turns out not to be even remotely close to being the person she was.
I think this is a evolving Monica, so it
Perhaps.
was not like that at all back then.
Unfortunately, I think so too. Now, as an aside to the topic, this is just something I was thinking about the other day. But how we're seeing all of this just happening, right? We're seeing like it's almost like I don't know if it's like a Digimon evolution. Hopefully it is, because it's just temporary. Or but we're seeing all of these. We're seeing like this generation of quote unquote women evolving into like power suit, pixie cut psychopaths. Like
Harley Quinn?
God, I wish. I wish. But no, like they just seem to like all like the fucking clock struck midnight and they all turned into a fucking pumpkin at the same time. It can't be coincidence. It can't be. I mean, like, we're literally I don't like to get Drexel I don't like to get Drexel when he's not on here. But when we get down to it, they're hitting their fucking biological clocks, right? They're hitting 35-40. They're realizing that they can't bring in the crowd of attention that they used to bring in. I mean, we see it with the Dom Skies. We see it with the Amanda Winleys. They do stupid shit to get attention now. Because they don't get attention anymore.
To be fair, was Amanda Winley ever young and ripe? I mean, even if you compare to that old video of her dancing to that bear, I would contest that she was.
It was a penguin.
But young.
I mean, after a few drinks, possibly.
Damn good thing I don't drink then.
Like, here's like, when you look at it, they're all fucking mad because other people are getting more attention and insert thing here than them, right? Monica's deposition. Well, his name was on the cover art and mine wasn't, even though I was the main character.
Had it not been for the fact that it was told that was on a European England cover, I would have straight up not believed it, because I had the collection of Tsubasa and I took photos of it, and not a single one of them had Vic's name on it at all.
I don't know why she was making a big deal because I know for a fact that all U.S. Stuff they cannot promote the voice actors, and all this stuff, all the artwork, the cover stuff, has to be approved in advance by the owner. Not Funny, not Sentai or ADV, but the actual license holder
Yeah.
before it's put out. So when she said that, I'm like, what? When Ty asked me that question, I'm like, I don't know what the hell she's talking about. You know. Now Funimation has a separate division out in Europe, which is different, and maybe they can do other stuff that's different from the U.S. and North America. But who knew that?
Well, if I wanted to say, like on my person, I mean, if I looked at the deposition for Monica, and based on what she said, I mean, it just really does sound like it's bitter jealousy because apparently, according to her claim, Vic is a trendsetter. Whenever he would do something that at least seemed profitable or popular, they would apparently condemn it before they adapt it themselves. And I think that's what we're starting to see here. I mean, look at
And
last year when Vic was going to conventions and everybody was condemning him for it. And now all of a sudden, now that Monica has a vaccine in her, she just wants to quote unquote reluctantly go to conventions. What?
Yeah. And
oh, and I'm still double masking. But going back to that the video thing. Um, why is she getting mad at Vic? Vic does not make the decisions about what's on the cover of a VHS or a DVD cover.
no.
That's
Eh,
the company. She should
Wait,
be
hold on.
complaining to the company.
She made that claim though. She claimed that he had the power and influence to do
That's a,
such a thing. I do
what a
remember that in the
what a
deposition.
load of horse crap.
Yeah, I agree. That was a whole complete load of
And
bullshit.
then she should be complaining to Colleen Clinking. She's further up the totem pole than Monica is. But oh, wait a minute. Oh, supposedly this cover was on the European edition. Okay, well then who's in charge of the European division of Funimation? Maybe she should be yelling and screaming at that person. Is Vic in control of that department too?
No,
I
apparently
don't
not.
think so.
No, Vic is
Jesus
God in their
Christ.
world, and they're just railing against him.
Yeah, be the small time voice actor, being the one that they despise to worship, and not at all the guy that owns a literal friggin' company that has financial ties to the jobs that they have. Yeah, sure, that works. Totally works.
So this is my message to Creation Entertainment, right? You listened to people who aren't going to your convention, who aren't supporting your convention, who aren't doing anything like that. Now I can sit here all day and say if you reinvite Vic, I'll buy a fucking pass even if I'm not going. But that's just as empty talk as anybody else saying that's like, well, I was gonna go, but I'm not gonna go anymore. Point here is that you have 103 people as a guest at your convention, okay? And I'm guessing the fucking size of a goddamn like 3 football stadiums, because you got a pretty big goddamn space, right? Kitchener Comic-Con rented out the space of a private school, very small area, City Hall. Okay? And we managed to keep the people that didn't like Vic away from Vic. And we managed to keep Vic fans in the same building as people who despised him. And guess what happened? Nothing. Nothing happened. So if you're afraid of what the 800 to 1,500 people that Vic is going to bring in is going to do to your hundreds of thousands of other people who may or may not like Vic, maybe you just shouldn't run conventions at all. Because, there might be someone that walks off the street that has a fucking personal beef with Jerry Ryan. Maybe someone on the internet saw something they didn't like about William Shatner. Maybe someone doesn't like Brent Spiner. Don't have a fucking convention then. All I gotta say about that. If you can't handle managing literally any facet of your fucking business, don't let these fucking psychopaths run your fucking business for you. You're the fucking business owners. It's your decision. Let it be your decision. Obviously, you knew about this shit before you invited Vic in. Obviously. I'm sure that was a conversation you had. Like, seriously, though. Like, it pisses me off because they're setting a precedent that's going to fuck over every single fucking small event out there. Because anyone that doesn't like either a guest that goes to that event or they don't like the event itself can just do whatever the fuck they want. They can make whatever claim they want and they can put a fucking bullet in a small fan run event. That's it. Nothing you can do about it. Because let me tell you, there's a ton of fan events out there that can't afford big names. They can't afford $5,000, $10,000, $15,000 guests. They can just afford travel and hotel. That's all they can do. And if you're out there and you don't like that event or you don't like insert guest here, and you kick out the fucking legs from under that event, they're fucked. It brings me to my next topic here. I wanted to talk about the future of conventions. I said it earlier. I think conventions are in a death spiral. I think that we are not going to see conventions as we know them from pre-2020. I don't think they're coming back. I know there's a lot of people out there that vehemently hope that is incorrect. But I think that 2 years of not having conventions has crippled what conventions are going to be able to bring in. Because the biggest thing that you could do, I mean, outside of like legacy conventions like Star Trek and Star Wars that you have fans and you're billing on nostalgia. You want to get the new blood in. You want to get the new people in. What has Star Trek done lately to bring in new fans? I mean, Jesus Christ, they made Star Trek Discovery, which, I mean, whoever okayed that series, did you not think that STD is a bad fucking acronym?
Wasn't my first thought, but now that you brought it up.
It's like the South Harmon Institute of Technology.
Like, Jesus
At least that one was
And
deliberate.
you would thought maybe, Picard was going to satisfy the old folks or the current fans or the base fans, and then draw in some new fans. Well, no, not really.
The thing is, whoever's directing these things now needs to fucking take the rocks out of their head. Why the Next Generation was such a great fucking series, and why it worked so well, was because it fucking pushed against the grain of everything that was going on during that timeline. Like, I'm not talking about the show. I'm talking about real life. Like, it took what was going on in real life and it fucking put it on its head, and it put it in the show, and it made people look at it from a different fucking perspective, and it didn't fucking care what people's opinions were. It didn't care about, this didn't rank well with the censors. They fucking brought up shit that people never fucking talked about. Deep Space Nine slightly did that as well. I mean, they kind of dipped their toe in it, but Next Generation was that show. They were the edgy fucking, we're going to do whatever we want, we don't care. And Picard was none of that. Picard was, we're going to listen to the hate mobs, and we're going to virtue signal out our fucking transporter core, or whatever the hell it is. Deflector dish. That's why Picard is not good, because they literally declawed one of the most I hate to use the word progressive, but I mean, like, it was Picard was one of the most progressive captains. Like, Kirk was very traditionalist, right?
Yep.
As we saw in the opening, the Klingons are going to die. Let them die. They're animals. Don't trust them. Picard was very much the antithesis to that, but he was also no nonsense. He had no fucking qualms with putting people in their fucking place and telling people exactly what he thought of them. I mean, look at Will Wheaton.
Then Picard happened, and all of a sudden they took literally everything that made him who he was and made him subservient to basically the rest of the cast.
Yeah. Like, Picard was the alpha male on that bridge. As much as Riker fucking tried to step over him.
Oh, I like how he straddles chairs and stuff like that. But anyway, you were saying.
Exactly. So I mean, that was the difference, right? I mean, the only one that could really put Picard in his place was Q. And even Picard got one up on him eventually. So it's like, yeah, I don't know. They completely removed the teeth from the Picard series. And it's just like, I haven't watched the Lower Decks. I've heard mixed about that. But it's just like, I don't know what they're trying to do to cultivate a new audience. So they're very much just catering to a very niche audience, which is excluding your youth. Youth doesn't care about Star Wars. Youth doesn't care about Star Trek right now. They're garbage. Why'd they watch them?
There's nothing wrong with trying to appeal to a niche market. The problem is that you need to know that that the market you're trying to appeal to is actually interested in your product. And if you're not, then what are you doing trying to appeal to them? They can pretend all they want that they're interested in it, but if the numbers don't reflect that, then you're in trouble.
Exactly. No, I agree.
They don't spend money with you.
Exactly. And I agree with Senora de Mendoza here. Kirk had a bad history with Klingons, including the fact that they killed his son. It's no wonder he hated them.
Bad blood.
But when you look at that in a 2020 aspect, right, it really gives you perspective, because we're dealing with a whole bunch of like racism issues and things like that now. And they dealt with that a lot on The Next Generation and Deep Space Nine. And Kirk absolutely was racist. Kirk absolutely was. And that really took, in that moment, it took Spock aback. Because he is going to bat for Kirk, and Kirk is just fucking losing it. And like, understandably so, because we see both sides of the coin, right? Kirk was there fighting Khan and all the shit that Khan did and all the things that the fucking Klingons did. And here he is being asked to save them. And you see the xenophobia in the Enterprise crew when they're asked to have fucking dinner with the Klingons. Like, you see it there. I think that's because I saw that.
Everybody
was
movie. Uncomfortable.
Oh, go ahead, Stan. Sorry.
Said everybody was uncomfortable.
Everybody was, and the Klingons identified it, whereas the Enterprise crew just they gave into it. Right? They're the ones quoting Hitler, you know, in the fucking dinner. And the Klingons are the ones saying, well, I guess we have a ways to go. Exactly. Chekhov's Guess Who's Coming to Dinner. Like, it's an iconic piece of film and cinema because it shows so much about our society at the time and even today. But when you look at it, and it's like, can you believe how they're eating? They're animals. Savages. All of this stuff. But it's interesting because like that's such a beloved piece of history and people overlook certain aspects of it. Well, like how Kirk was a womanizer, blah, 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 blah. And yeah, Kirk did start to overcome some of his prejudice by the end of Star Trek 6. True. But it goes to show you, it went from Star Trek, the original series, to Star Trek, the Next Generation, to having a Klingon on the crew and all this other stuff. But I think it's really interesting because if you go by what these psychopaths are trying to erase from history, they would erase things like that. Right? It's glorifying racism, is it not?
Yeah, they probably try to erase the original Star Trek.
Exactly. That's what I'm saying. The original Star Trek is glorifying racism, is it not? Right? You have the heroes on as the Enterprise crew being racist against the Klingons. Later on, like in the series, Romulans, Cardassians, insert race here. Like, insert race of the day here, right? But you have the hero, perceived hero, as the Enterprise crew. But what they don't understand is that they work through these problems, right? Because they're humans. Like the episode in Deep Space Nine, if people recollect this one, the war with the fucking Dominion War or whatever else, when the changelings are gone down to Earth and they're wreaking havoc because everyone thinks everyone's a fucking changeling, which is obviously, like homage to when people were all suspicious about Russian sleeper agents.
Mm-hmm.
These psychopaths would delete all of that because they don't watch the fucking show. They don't care about the history.
Of course not.
And they don't care about the fucking commentary and the important discussions and growth that happen in there. Like
Because
when Cisco suspects his own father of being a changeling. That interaction was fucking powerful. I don't know if anyone's seen that episode. Not a whole lot of people I know have watched Deep Space Nine. When you watch that episode, when Cisco goes back to Earth, he's in San Francisco, visiting his dad. There's a whole bunch of people being tested because there's changelings and blah 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 blah. And he wants his dad, and his dad is going to be arrested because he's refusing to get his blood tested. And Cisco literally has a moment where he thought that his dad was a changeling. Good evening, GCF Dad. That was a really fucking powerful moment. Because, like, exactly, in the end, it was just one. It was just one, and everyone was so fucking paranoid. But this is the important thing. These are narratives beyond the series, right? These are really important pieces of history. And these are discussions that people want to have. These lunatics, they're out here running around trying to demand this. And it's already happening. It's already happening in the base material. The discussions about racism, the discussions about xenophobia, homophobia, transphobia, whatever, it's already being discussed. Pay attention. Actually be a fan of a fucking series.
But that's the problem, though. They aren't fans of the series. So when they only look at it at face value, it becomes a problematic show.
Exactly. I mean, Looney Tunes, case in point.
Exactly. Okay. Pepe Le Pew was a French stereotype, right?
Yeah.
But he's not the only stereotype of the series. Foghorn Leghorn was an American stereotype.
Yeah. Antebellum.
Porky Pig was a Jewish stereotype. And we can keep going on and on here. Not to mention, if you talk about the main star himself, Bugs Bunny, he did all sorts of crazy, intolerable stuff to this day, from dealing with racially insensitive hunters to essentially sexually confusing Elmer Fudd by cross-dressing and kissing
Oh
him.
yeah.
That would be
Exactly.
considered homophobic to this day.
Exactly.
But no,
And
you know,
God forbid he cross-dressed as a woman. Bugs Bunny cross-dressing as a woman, and then exposing our youth to opera singing. God help us.
Yes, the monsters.
So you have these situations. You have them, right? Looney Tunes, fantastic example. Pepe Le Pew. It's the fucking joke behind this wasn't that he was like, it was, oh, is he creepy or does he smell bad because he's a fucking skunk? That's the joke. That's why the fucking cat's trying to run away from him, because he's a fucking skunk.
The implications that came from it was that it was never being shown in a positive light.
No.
It was never condoning his actions whatsoever.
No.
In every episode that Pepe Le Pew was in, he was never the hero.
No, he never
Hell,
was.
there were several episodes where it was found out that he's already married and trying to commit infidelity by chasing after that cat.
Which he thinks is a skunk.
Which he thinks is a skunk, yes. Like,
Oh yeah.
And then you have the
never
Stockholm syndrome thing with the abominable snowman.
Yep.
Like there's so many things that Looney Tunes was poking fun at and parodying.
But, you know, God forbid these
Heaven
folks are
forbid.
intelligent enough to be able to make a simple comparison.
Exactly.
Or a simple
Wile E. Coyote. Yep.
Exactly.
Oh, yeah. Wile E. Coyote was definitely the joke on the relentless pursuiter towards their prey, the psychotic murderer of sorts.
Well, yeah,
Never shown in a positive light.
well, then you always see the wolf and the sheepdog, right? Ralph the wolf.
Oh yeah.
Yes. Oh, God. That was the typical parody of the worker relationship that they had with one another. I love that gag.
It was so good. It was so good.
Yes, exactly, Senor de Mendoza. They don't understand satire.
No.
They obviously failed language and composition back in high school.
The thing is with these individuals, they lack any sort of joy in their lives, which is a fucking terrible thing. It's really, really sad. They lack joy. You know, like I had a conversation with Vic when he was in Kitchener for the Comic-Con, and he asked me, he's like, these people, like, what do you have to do? Like how does this stop? And so I told him, like, I told him straight up, I'm like, because you can't pound these people down any further. They're already fucking at the bedrock digging further down. You can't push them down any worse. You know, making them feel like shit would just be an upgrade from their daily lives. I'm like,
Too
what
much
you have
attention
to,
paid.
like, what you have to do, you have to lift everyone up around them, so that they're the only ones down there, and it's fucking
Agreed.
lonely. Lift them up. Now I heard someone name drop a convention that had our favorite literal Who as a guest at. Fun fact, he's not a guest. He's not actually listed on their website as a guest anymore. I don't know if that was an
I
accident
wonder why.
or if he was ever invited to begin with. But
Well, he claimed it, but I'm gonna assume something happened.
so I reached out to that convention. I didn't ask about, you know, where nobody knows his name. I didn't ask about him. But I just reached out to that convention because they have like a little thing for podcasts and everything else like that. I reached out to them, and I got a response back, surprisingly faster than Creation Entertainment, by the way. Got a response back from this convention. What the heck was they called? I'm gonna look them up real quick here. I'll give them a shout out because they deserve it. To pull up my Gmail. So it turns out, and I learned a little bit more about them. Shore Leave. The Shore Leave convention. That's in Maryland. Go check them out because they're pretty interesting. They're in Maryland. Let me pull that up again. Here we go. So I got an email back from them. It turns out that they're a fan run convention, and they've been going for about a decade. And I offered them to like come on the show and talk about and promote their event and talk about their event because they're doing a virtual event this year. They made the decision about a week ago that they're gonna have to do virtual, so they're gonna need all the help they can get. Because they actually have some pretty big name guests. They had some pretty big name guests scheduled. They had Brent Spiner, Data. They had Data. They had Beverly Crusher. They had her actress slated to be there. They're trying to figure out what their programming is, but yeah, that's the one that Plant is supposedly invited to. He's not actually though. He's not listed on the website. He has a direct link for some reason. But I name dropped Vic in my email when I was talking about who I've had on this show, and they did, Gates McFadden is slated as a guest. I name dropped Vic, and they didn't blink an eye. They didn't shy away. In fact, they want to come on the show to talk about the event and a lot of other stuff. Apparently, I'm the first YouTuber in 10 years, in the 10 years that they've been running, that has offered to have them on a podcast and have them on to talk about it. So there you go.
Good for them.
They're pretty wholesome. So yeah, they're definitely looking. They're happy to have him to come on the show and talk about the show and everything else like that. And I'm happy to boost small conventions, right? Fan run conventions, because the biggest shit that we're coming out of right now, like the biggest shit that we're seeing, is coming out of the big professional, big ass corporate backed conventions. And they will drop someone at the fucking drop of a pin, drop of a hat, because slight pushback. These are conventions that have literal fucking leagues of minimum wage customer service employees, if that. Usually volunteers doing their customer service, paying them fucking nothing to get berated by nobodies online. And they drop a name for what? They drop Vic for what reason? They had a fucking agreement. They're risking. It's like, what good is a contract? Like, we said this years ago when we lost our TV personality at Kitchener Comic Con. What good's a fucking contract? Honestly, like, if we drop them, what are they going to do? Sue us for the like $500 that we promised them? And Agrolith, yes, there was a verbal contract. We've since confirmed it. In California, oral contracts are considered contracts.
Yes, they're legally binding.
So it's very, very interesting. And we see, of course, things
now that
like,
we said that, let's see if they'll back out and announce that no, we didn't have a contract. We didn't have an oral contract. No. Let's see if they play that card.
I anticipate they're not going to say a fucking word. I would say people have to keep the heat on.
They have already said too much as it is. At this point, they might as well be shitting bricks.
Well, if I was them, I would be. Because if I was them, I would be shitting bricks that people are not contacting every single one of my fucking guests for every single one of my conventions and pointing out that this convention does not honor contracts. This convention is not professional. This convention is not one that you want to deal with. Because they'll drop your contract and won't pay you at the fucking slight hint of anything negative. If you're guaranteed $15,000, they'll cancel your fucking contract without a fucking second guess. I would be shitting bricks right now. Because they don't just have a Star Trek convention, they have a Supernatural convention. They have a ton of conventions. A ton. That they're charging $300 to $1,500 for a weekend pass per person. Plus, they're charging extra for autographs, extra for photos. They're making bank. And like Nick said on the other stream the other day, like Nick said, this was likely done for Vic by like 2 or 3 people. Imagine what 50 people emailing would do. Imagine what 200 people emailing would do. Imagine what 1,000 people emailing would do. Jesus Christ.
Mm-mm.
Well, Tom P., who gives a shit about what he says? Well, even he said that himself. Who would give a shit what he said? If it comes from the main man himself, I guess he kind of defeated his own argument, but what do I know? I just dealt with him for like 3.5 hours this morning.
Well, this is the thing. No one cares about what Emmett says. This is obviously coming from inside the convention, which, if that's the case, that's even fucking worse. I mean, I have half a mind to reach out to every single fucking guest on that list and say, do you know what they do? You better second guess going to this event and dealing with this fucking business, because they treat contracts like toilet paper. They don't give a fucking shit if you have a contract with them. They'll drop you. They won't pay you. And they do it on purpose.
Better hope you didn't piss off anybody, because they'll just claim you have an invisible skeleton in the closet and they'll dump you faster than hell for it.
Exactly.
You know, accusations, since they love to believe accusations, supposedly, let's throw this out. Supposedly, and I'm not saying this is true or not, I'm just using it as an example. Supposedly, one of the owners has sticky fingers, been touching, wandering hands and stuff. I don't know if it's true, but since they love accusations and believe all accusations, hey, co-owner of said convention, you have an accusation out there that your hands go places where it shouldn't be going.
Right? Oh,
that's a fair point.
Isn't it convenient that it's 2 men running this convention, right? It's 2 men running this convention. Right? It's not the powerful women inside the convention that either volunteer or whatever else, right? No. It's the 2 men that run the convention. So obviously, going for however long they've been going for, definitely no accusations at all floating around, right? Definitely no skeletons in the closet. Definitely no reason as to why, literal nobodies in the industry are using leverage against you to get guests canceled. No, definitely not.
Who needs it? Just as we have seen already, and we've seen it countless times, just fabricate and you'll be perfectly fine. Apparently, it works well enough.
Impossible. No, this is what I'm saying. So, Zypher, this is what I'm saying. If the convention doesn't listen to you, and this is their tactics right back at them, right? Like Nick was saying the other night, this is their tactics right back at them. If the convention's not listening to you, then you got to go somewhere else. You got to talk to the guests. You got to make it public. Let the public know. Because they got to feel the heat. Because what this convention is doing to smaller conventions right now is fucking taking a fully loaded gun, putting it to their fucking temple and pulling the trigger. They are telling little conventions, they're telling the fan-run conventions like Shore Leave, you are not allowed to determine who your guests are. That's what they're telling them. Because a big convention folds at the slightest fucking pressure. No one's allowed to determine who their fucking guests are. And part of this is why I'm saying that COVID has pretty much effectively put a bullet in conventions as we know them. I would argue, I don't have the numbers in front of me, but I would argue that probably a good 70+%, and that's a conservative number, I would say probably closer to 90+%, conventions that are not the upper echelon of conventions, that are not corporately backed, that don't have massive sponsors, they were looking for a reason to shut down. They were just breaking even, or what have you. They were just treading water before COVID.
And COVID conveniently killed themselves.
Mm-hmm. And COVID did it. So I will say this. There was a convention that ran locally about 3 or 4 years before Kitchener Comic-Con ran. And Kitchener Comic-Con took their time slot because there was a huge void in the convention scene at that point. They, this year, announced they were doing an online convention. This is Con G. It was a convention in Guelph. Con G. So they opened up and they were going to do an online convention. Now, this is one of the most prestigious conventions in our region. I would argue they rivaled Anime North in terms of prestige. Not attendance, because it wasn't a very well-attended convention. It was a very cozy convention. It was about half the size of Kitchener Comic-Con, but they had very loyal supporters. They had a very high prestige. They had guests coming from Japan. They had top-of-the-line anime voice actors. Like, at the time, huge fucking names. Like, they had Scott McNeil. They had other people from very, very high-profile animes. They were huge. And their owners just cut the convention eventually. When they ended up doing their final year, they just walked away from it because it was too much stress. They weren't having fun anymore. They were burnt out, which is understandable. So about eight years later, fast forward 8 years, they have an online convention, and everybody's buzzing about it because Con G is huge. Like Con G was the fucking convention in this region. Guess their turnout. Go ahead and throw out a number.
What, for their online show?
Let's. I will take the crown jewel, right? The crown jewel from their convention would be their masquerade. And they had the Toronto cosplay community completely enamored. And they had, people blah, 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 blah. They had Twitch things. Their masquerade, what numbers do you think their masquerade brought in? I see 40, I see 63, I see 60. So their Twitch broadcasts averaged 1 viewer.
Ooh.
Oh.
1 viewer. Their masquerade, after 2 weeks of it being on YouTube, plateaued at 54.
I guess that's better, but oh Jesus.
So, a convention that literally had the entire Toronto cosplay community apparently backing it, which apparently it didn't, managed an entire whopping 55 individuals virtually attending it. Which, I mean, I think that's an indicator of, number one, where online conventions are heading.
Yeah,
which
in
is
the toilet, yeah.
in the fucking toilet. In the fucking toilet. Now, so speaking of online conventions, I have had a chance to speak with 8-Bit Shinobi of Ottawa VCon, and it's unfortunate because I know him kind of personally. Like, he attended Kitchener Comic Con. I've met him. He's a really nice dude. He's a really kind guy. He's on the spectrum. So, number one, running a convention as a normal person that's not on the spectrum is fucking difficult as shit. Number two, being on the spectrum, it amplifies it by fucking tenfold. So I mean, props to him for trying. Right, he's trying really hard. He lost Vic as a guest because of a scheduling conflict. And he's having a really rough time right now because he's not selling tickets. Because online conventions are fucking toilet paper at this point. So he was very like, he's asking me for advice on what to do. And it's like, I'm like, just leave it up to your heart, dude. I'm like, if you feel like you can't make it happen, or if it's too much of a financial strain for you, then you can't do it. But I'm like, every first year convention runs at a loss. Unless you're talking about like a very big corporate ran event, you're probably going to be eating a big fucking debt from your first year convention. It's an investment, right? It's an investment. And depending on where you are, especially in Ontario.
True.
But
sounds like an unofficial initiation.
I mean, it is. It's a fucking trial by fire. But the thing is, I told him, it's like, take what you learned from this year, what worked, what didn't work, and improve on it next year. And if you want to do it next year, but I'm like, I'm like, for my opinion, you should still do it. I mean, if it's not going to like put you out of house and home, if it's going to make you uncomfortable for a month or two, yeah, go ahead and do it. Because he's worried, because he's like, the numbers aren't there, people aren't buying tickets, people aren't supporting it. And he's like, if I cancel it, then it's going to prove the trolls right, and I have to deal with all this other stuff. And it's like, look, dude, it's going to run at a loss. Put it out there, try to do what you can, do your best, and go with that. I mean, it's not. I mean, yeah,
correct. Stephanie Dahlin is going to be there, right?
Yeah,
pardon my apologies.
Stephanie's going to be there. Chuck Huber's going to be there.
Oh, Shinobi, give me a moment. I'll buy a ticket.
So I mean, like, if you guys are, able to, just go out and support him, because he's doing his best, and he's not a scam. I know people out there trying to say, "Oh, it's a scam, blah 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 blah." Website looks terrible. It's a spelling mistakes. He's on the spectrum. He's trying, doing his best, and you can contact whoever you want to. This is another thing too I saw about people talking about. You can contact whoever you want to in whatever organization. If you're not talking to the fucking person that he's talking to, you're not getting the right answer, right? Because we had Marvel as a sponsor for Kitchener Comic Con. We talked to someone from Marvel Canada, a very specific individual, and when idiots were calling about the Marvel sponsorship, they were calling Marvel Cinema and Marvel US. And they're like, we have no idea what you're talking about. Obviously not, because you're not talking to our fucking contact. Obviously. But we had Marvel shit to give out. Like, I mean, where else are we going to get Infinity fucking cubes or whatever? Like, where else are we going to get them? We just get random shit from Marvel. Where else are we going to get it? But how much are the tickets? I'm not entirely sure. You'd have to check out his website. You have to check out Ottawa VCon. to give it a look at. I don't know how much the tickets are. I know some of them are a bit more on the expensive side. A lot of people are criticizing the price tag for the meet and greets and stuff like that. That includes merchandise, that includes signatures and photos. So when you're going to a convention and you're buying a photo or signature, you're spending $50, $60, $70. So you're getting that, and you're getting $200 for a meet and greet, $45 to $60 for Canadian, and that's Canadian dollars. So it's like $5 American. Like, seriously.
I wish it was that inexpensive. I'd be like, oh, I'm fronting up the cash already.
Like $5 American. Like, come on. So he's got Stephanie Nadolny, he's got Chuck Huber, and as far as I'm aware, Stephanie Nadolny's done an interview with him. So that 100% confirmed. And the only reason that Vic canceled was because of scheduling conflict. Let's be very clear about that. I've been told by Shinobi, I haven't talked to Vic about it. I've been told by Shinobi that Vic was very supportive. Vic wanted to do another event. He was very apologetic. He wanted to do another event in the future with him. Do something in the future with him. But yeah, go out and support him because he deserves it.
Yeah, man, he took a lot of heat for that drop. So I think at least with this understanding, at least there'd be a better attempt at, reconciling and supporting his convention.
Yeah. And I say this because you have to go out and support small events because we're not going to see them after COVID. I know there's a bunch of people that are saying, "Oh, once COVID's gone, everything's going to go back to normal." In most of the mainline United States, so here's my reasoning behind this. And Stan, you can let me know if this is offline or whatever else, because you have probably twice as much experience in the convention industry than I do. But my forecast of this is not a knock on you, Stan.
Sure.
My forecast on this is that American audiences grew up with state fairs. You grew up with like events being a normal thing. That was just kind of the norm, right?
Mm-hmm.
You guys have like a really huge expo culture, like an event culture. Canadians don't have that. Canadians had the X in Toronto, which is apparently canceled forever now, gone, and that was it. Like that was pretty much it. We had an expo in Montreal that fucking folded like 20 years ago. We don't have the same ingrained culture of going to events, going to state fairs, going to expos. So it's kind of a weird thing for us. And the only reason why it was a huge thing back in the day, like 20 years ago, was because that was the only place you could go to get unique things, like anime. You could only go to Anime North 20 years ago to get dubs. Like, you would go and you would record anime on a fucking VHS tape 20 years ago. Now you can get anime everywhere. You get the digestion everywhere. When we're talking about later on, we're talking about like unique things to buy. So like really cool, unique figurines you can't find in the stores. Now you can see them in Walmart. Conventions aren't what they used to be because they haven't been bringing in new things. And so the only thing that kept them alive these past 10 years was routine. Ask anybody that goes to Anime North, why do you go to Anime North? Well, I go to see my friends because it's something I always do. I always go to Anime North every May. I just always go. You know, it's been a routine for me for my past X amount of years. Now we have 10, 11, 12-year-olds that will not have had a convention in 2 years to go to. And all of a sudden when conventions come back, they're 15, 16, 17. They don't care about conventions because they've never went to one because there hasn't been one in 2 to 3 years.
Alien.
Yeah. And when you're looking at the end of the spectrum, the 21, 22, 23-year-olds that were the main events, because they were like, like the hot bodied cosplayers, hot tickets, big names, whatever else. They're aging out. Maybe they haven't been keeping up because they can't hit the gym over the this time. Maybe their cosplays don't fit anymore. Maybe they found something else. Maybe they got a full-time job because they had to. Maybe they can't afford cosplay anymore. And then you have the middle of the ground, right? They would have been 14, 15, 16 going to conventions. Now they're 17, 18, 19 going to college. You've missed out on an entire generation of children and kids and adolescents that would have come to your event, that would have hooked on your event and gone on routine because you have nothing of substance to keep them. I'm saying this of like Anime North and Fan Expo and blah, blah, blah. And events like Kitchener Comic-Con, events like Shore Leave, they're fan-focused events that have things to do and have things that are unique to go there for. But events like Fan Expo, events like Anime North, they rely on people going year over year. And it's dangerous right now for them. It's dangerous. I mean, do you have any thoughts on that, Stan?
You're right. I know that several conventions, some of them within the top 10, biggest anime cons in North America, they pretty found out that their whole business model was just hanging on a thread, and
Yeah.
COVID came along and pretty much broke that thread, and they're not coming back, and
They're
then
not
you got Katsucon, or no, not Katsucon, I think it was Otakon begging for money to keep themselves afloat. That's pretty sad. Now, Anime Matsuri, which is coming up in July 8th through the 8th to the 11th, I think. There are 5 other conventions that are hope to be operating that same weekend as Anime Matsuri, and one of them happens to be Kamehacon up in Dallas.
Oh, Jesus.
So you got Anime Matsuri in Houston and Kamehacon in Dallas, and so that's going to be interesting. And I don't know if Kamehacon has even announced any guests for their show. And if they did announce any guests on their show, it had to be from the other group. I think they'd be scared to even put their names up there, because then people would boycott their show and go to another show instead. So who knows? So about that.
Good grief.
But I know that Anime Matsuri is going to be the show that people are going to be going to. Any show that's like in Texas or Florida or South Dakota, because they're open and free, and free to operate, and government is not intruding on their lives, and those are the places where people are going to go.
And that's very interesting. That's very interesting, right? Because the conventions lost all interest in Kamehacon. Yeah. I know, as someone that's asking, do you think cons will privatize, as each creator will have to cultivate their own audience and draw their own crowds? They should. They should.
Well, I don't know what he meant by privatize. I mean, all shows are supposed to be local. Their first goal is to be the local show and draw from the local crowds. Too many shows that I've seen go, oh yeah, we're a local show, but we're going to advertise every state in the United States and have them come to our show. I'm like, no. That's not how it works. That's not how you survive. You survive by your local fans. You're
That's
supposed to be doing it to your local fans, and then
yeah.
and everybody who comes from outside your area, that's bonus.
And that's one thing that I've been beating the drum on for years. Focus on your local. I mean, it was nice that Kitchener Comic Con got global attention, and we know, like, that was for us sticking by Vic. We wanted to make a great experience for the people that were there, right? Because the people that show up, the people that are there, the people that are enjoying your event, they're the one. We got asked, I don't know how many times, by vendors, like, why aren't you charging $60? Like, you could charge $60 and easily get that for this event. Why aren't you doing that? Because that's $60 you're taking away from the person walking in the door to buy stuff, right? Know your demographic. Know your demographic for your show. If they want to pay you, they'll pay you. If you're doing a good show, if you're doing a good job, they're going to pay you. Leave that option open. Sell merchandise. Leave options for tips. Leave options for donations. Thing is here, is with all of this, you have shows that are reaching out to audiences that are never going to fucking go there. Like, look at E3. Look at San Diego Comic-Con. What were the big draws for those 15, 20 years ago? Big draws were, you're not going to get the information that you get from going there anywhere else, right? Like, you go to E3, you're going to get some exclusive scoop from Sony or whatever else. Now, they all have their own individual channels, and they have their own individual things they talk about. Like, no one cares about Marvel anymore. No one cares about DC right now because they're all woke as shit. So, like, nothing good is coming out of that. You talk about anime. Well, what are you going to get from an anime convention? You go to Anime North, their vendor room is 90% pop figurines.
Oh,
what unique thing is there? Nothing. Nothing that you can't get off of fucking Amazon or eBay. Bring something that to the table that you can walk away and say, I got this from X. And do that. And you have to be there. That was the big... So when I was part of Kitchener Comic Con, that was the big push. I'm hoping they still do it. That was the big thing with Kitchener Comic Con was, we're not going to advertise everything that goes on there. Because some of the stuff, you have to be there to see it. And that was the big draw. And that was the big thing that was missing from a lot of conventions. Is there's no, you had to be there to see it moment. Not at an Anime North, not at a Fan Expo, none of that.
Yeah, that's a tough thing to work out anyway.
Exactly.
The search for that stuff, yeah. Hey, Chris Jacobson, Eric Vale is a owner of Kamehacon.
yeah, I was about to say that. I heard that.
His family owns Kamehacon, so
Yes,
I figured he would be.
Sold it, right?
Yes. He sold it last year, if I recall.
Unfortunately. He sold it, as far as I can remember, because of issues that he was having. I don't want to misquote him. It was because of distress, I think, from running the convention. And he had an offer from one of the people that was like a voice actor for it.
Eric Vale, yep. His family.
And so he sold it to the Eric Vale family, or the Vale family. The VA. Yeah, so Kamehacon's no longer operated by Chris Latosh.
Yes. Now Trunks owns it.
The Trumps. Trumps own everything. My
Wait, I
goodness.
thought it was trunks, as in the saying. But all right.
Play on words.
Play on words.
Fair enough. Fair enough.
So in regards to Vic in this year, I know for a fact that, and I will publicly announce it right now, that I'm working with Vic, and we are putting together events that Vic is going to be at. So people who want to get Vic for a convention or for an area, all they have to do is hit up the Risible Rangers and let them know that you want Vic in your area, because it's sad to say that some of these con owners are not willing to take the risk.
And that is why you are the man, Stan.
Let's go, Stan. So Stan is going out on record here and saying that he is basically going to be, correct me if I'm wrong, you're going to be advocating for Vic for these different events then?
I'm going to be helping. I'm going to be helping out with him and Risible Rangers to get Vic into towns that people want him at.
That's awesome.
And beware you cons out there that are having their events. Vic might show up.
That is fantastic to hear, honestly.
Yeah, man.
Vic is he's a talent that is unmeasurable. I will say he's a talent that transcends what you expect of a talent at an event. What I will say is that, like, I mean, honestly, you can bring people to sign autographs, whatever else, that's fine. He goes above and beyond for every single person that comes out to your event, and anyone out there that's looking at the risk versus reward. What you're risking is people that were never going to show up to your event, whinging and crying online that they're not going to show up to your event now. What your reward is a massively great fan experience. And let me tell you, potential events out there, happy fans spend money.
True.
That's what it comes down to. If people are having a good time, they're going to spend money. That was our focus with Kitchener Comic-Con, which is why, at least up to the point where I left, we had vendors literally paying years in advance. Literally saying, what do you want? Because the people we brought in spent money because they were happy. They were having fun. What happens at Anime North? Everyone stays outside. Everyone has a great time. No one goes inside, though. No one buys a pass because everyone just hangs out on the grass. Ask anyone that goes to Anime North. Where do they spend money? Where do they spend money? Where
Not at the show.
Right?
Doesn't seem like the show. It seems like everything else outside the show.
Exactly.
Getting the money. Yeah,
they spend money everywhere else except in the event. Because when you come down to it, especially if you're running a free event, number one, if you're running a free admission event, who are your customers? Who is paying to be there? It's your vendors, right? Let's be real. It's not the attendees. It's your vendors. So you have a responsibility to your vendors to bring in people who are going to spend money on them to make sure those people get a return or the maximum return that they can. It's up to the vendors, obviously, to sell shit that is to the demographic and, artists to sell things to the people that whatever else. But
To
you
make
put
money,
them
yes.
yeah. You put them in the best situation to succeed. What you do. All right. We have talked a lot. I am going to open up the phone lines.
Sweet.
I just realized. We're going to open up the phone lines here. I'm going to drop the link into chat. Anyone that wants to join us and have a say.
You can say
Link is in
hi
chat.
to Anime Girl and Gab. And who else is here? Let's see.
Yeah, as
Nara?
far as I'm aware, Eric
Yep.
Vale was a kick Vic. As far as I'm aware. I don't think he was vocal. I think he was supporting people who were kick Vic.
Monica and them, yep. Hey, Tom. Okay. Besides, yeah, why go to Comic-Con? Because someone we know personally might be going to Anime Matsuri.
Yeah. And this is what I mean. Go to the conventions that listen to you. Doesn't matter if they're small or large or corporately backed or not. Go to the conventions that listen to you. If you want to go and see Vic, go to a convention that lists Vic. Should you resurrect Scary Kitty? Go for it. Anyone
Okay.
that wants to call in, click that link. You'll be added to the stream. We'll talk to you. We'll have fun. All that fun stuff. Anybody that wants to join in, you can click that link. I know there's a couple people that were wondering how to do that. So it works on mobile and desktop. Go for it. Join the conversation.
Ask away. Question.
away.
You got questions? Ask away.
You got questions? Ask away. We have Vic Mignana fan 27 joining us. Here we go.
Hi.
Welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Great. How are you?
Doing well, thank you.
Howdy.
How are you?
Yes. So so I was curious. So what convention, Stan Dahlin, is Vic Mignogna going to be at that you're trying to get him for?
We're working on a list of shows, not necessarily conventions, more like locations. So if you have a place near you that you would like to see him, just let us know.
Okay, yeah, because I have met Vic thousands of times, and he was extremely nice, whether that be at Anime Expo or Los Angeles Comic-Con, which he had his Star Trek final episode premiere at.
I believe Vic said there's an announcement coming up that he's going to be in California pretty soon. So I don't know when that announcement is going to come out, but I'm just throwing that out there so you know.
Awesome.
Oh yeah. So I should also note that I'm planning to go to Comic-Con this year because it'll be my first time going to an out-of-state convention.
Sure.
And that on the website, you list Eric Phil as a main guest. Both him and a few of the other, voice actors that he's friends with, whether that be, I'm pretty sure one of them is Alicia Bowman, who is also a main guest for that convention. Here, Calamus. He's also going to be a main guest for Comic-Con.
Okay.
Yeah, so I was shocked to hear that Eric Vale owned that convention because I'm pretty sure it was Chris Latos for a time.
Yep, you're right. You're correct.
Oh yeah. So do you guys think that William Shatner could help get Vic re-invited for the Star Trek event since both him and Vic have the same talent agent?
Don't know. I mean, we'll have to. I might talk to Vic about that and see what's going on. That's up to Vic and if he's still, if that agent is still Vic's. But right now, I honestly don't know.
Yeah. So let's just that I was hoping to go to that event if Vic Mignogna was still a main guest because, well, I just want to try and support him no matter what.
Oh, good.
Very
Well,
admirable of you.
Well, one thing he does have cameos. If you're looking to support him directly, he does have cameos available on his Twitch that you can order.
Yeah, I gotta do
like
that.
financially at least. And I know I was just speaking with Squally, and they're gonna test pilot the Streamlabs donation, so you can have direct donations to Vic if you're looking to support him as well. So they're gonna test pilot that. Lots of options to support Vic if you want to. So.
Oh yeah, so I was also going to be a part of Ottawa to VCon, that convention that Vic was supposed to be a part of this month. I was supposed to be video chatting with him this month while he was supposed to be autographing a Funko Pop for me. And I heard that 8-Bit Similarly is also trying to raise the GoFundMe account by supporting Vic Mignogna. By getting a ticket, you'll help Vic Mignogna's legal fund out.
Yeah, no, that definitely helps. With the GoFundMe, the direct donations. So like, just for people that don't really understand Twitch and stuff like that. So, YouTube and Twitch take a bunch of the donations. So super chats, I think, YouTube takes about 50 or 60%. Twitch takes 50% of the subs. I suggested to Vic that they start up the independent donations because it's almost a 1-to-1 donation thing. Up to them if they want to do it. But yeah, if you want to support them, that definitely helps them out. But yeah, thank you so much, Vic Mignogna fan. Did you have anything else before we move on to the next person?
Yes. So I don't know which convention Vic could possibly be at here in California, given our restrictions. Even though we're going to be in the red tier,
yeah.
But last time I heard, the Anime Expo is so far going to be held virtually this year.
You're correct. Yes.
And Los Angeles Comic-Con is going to be having a virtual event next month, and their main event is not till August. So what event could Vic be a part of here in California that would be a part of the guidelines that are currently set here in California?
I don't know. Vic teased this. I think it was last Tuesday on his Twitch stream that there was going to be an announcement coming out pretty soon.
Viper
they haven't
Talent
made it
at
yet.
$16.04. Just wanted to test out this tip.
So I don't know what it is. I'm not privy to that information.
Holy crap!
But I hope that he'd be able to come to California for you guys to see him. Yes.
All right. Well, thank you so much, Vic Mignogna fan. We're going to bring in the next person here.
Yeah.
Appreciate you.
Okay. Thank you. You were awesome.
Take care. And thank you so much for the $16. I don't remember who donated that. I didn't quite catch that. I don't have my thing set up here. But thank you so much for that.
Wow.
I appreciate it. Holy crap! I just wanted to test out this tip.
We got money.
We got monies. We got cash monies. Let me see if I can actually find
more liquor.
Bring up my Streamlab.
All right, let's see. Somebody said Washington State. So okay, we'll put that down. Washington State.
Hey,
for Vic to come back. We'll have to wait to see what your state government is going to do.
Exactly.
Because right now you people are still locked down. And the reason I know that, my parents live in Washington D.C. Washington State. So I know.
Viper Talon, thank you, Viper Talon. If anyone's looking to do what Viper Talon just did, there is a link. I'm hoping that this thing brings it up. Tips. You can actually get text to speech. You can put anything over $1 gets text to speech, and it will actually speak it on stream. Where do you go to call in? It'll be this link right here. That link in there. So we're gonna grab Queen Luna, who's been waiting patiently. Thank you so much for waiting. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
We can hear you, Queen Luna 1987. How are you doing?
You're gonna have to mute the YouTube.
Very nice face mask though.
Okay.
Queen Luna, are you there? We can't hear you.
Can't hear you.
Well, unfortunately, we're gonna have to come back to you in just a minute.
Try again.
Looks like we're having a bit of problems. We have Nern.
Technical
Nern, yes.
difficulty.
Welcome to the stream. How you doing?
Hello, can I be heard?
We can hear
Yes,
you.
Nerdy, we hear you.
Perfect. So I was calling in because today, actually, this afternoon, I heard about what happened to Vic and Creation Entertainment, and this has been going on for a long while, and kind of all the rage has settled into like cold fury. So I actually spent my afternoon. I went into a couple of the anime shops around town, talked to them, be like, "Hey, would you be interested in having, a VA come in and do an event here?" And a lot of them were like, "We can do that." So I actually have like a couple of phone numbers, emails, and whatnot. So what would be the best way to get those to Vic or to whoever's setting it up?
It would be Squally to get that information too, because Squally's working closer with Vic on that type of things, and as well, I'm working on a convention thing with Squally, but I'm doing one for Atlanta. So because I'm in Atlanta, so and then Squally is going to help out. So Squally is the person you need to get a hold of.
Right, sounds good. So is there anything like while I'm here, anything specific that you're looking for in like a sort of venue to set up? Like I know you said you weren't looking for cons, but more like events setting up.
Right now we can any business that wants Vic there to do a signing, that's great. We will probably do. We can even set up in a hotel. We'll have one room, and then people come in and then just meet with Vic. So it's kind of similar to what Vic did in Jacksonville, Florida, not too long ago, where he was nearby another con, and he just set up, and people at that con, they could just come right on over. Didn't have to pay any. Didn't have to actually go to the convention to see Vic. But people at that convention were, more than welcome to come by. So
makes sense. I appreciate it.
Mm-hmm.
So that makes sense. I appreciate the information, and sure. I can definitely reach out to Squally and give her that contact information. A couple of them sounded really interested, so hopefully something comes of it.
Well, that'd be great.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Naren. Do you have anything else before we move on?
No, not really. Thank you.
Right on. Thank you so much for calling in.
Yep.
All right.
That was great. That was good.
Awesome. That was awesome. All right, we're going to move on to Rhythmia. Welcome to the stream.
Hello.
Hello.
How you doing?
How are you, good sir?
How's my microphone? Can you hear me okay?
Oh yeah, I can hear you.
Perfectly clear.
Excellent. I think it's probably worth noting that in Australia, the COVID thing has been pretty...
That accent was definitely coming through.
Yeah. In Australia, the COVID thing has been... It's pretty much going back to life as the new normal. So as far as conventions here are concerned, they're starting to open up again, but there are changes. So, for example, venues are larger. They're looking for larger places so they can have more people but still have the social distancing going on. International guests are currently out. And yeah, the virtual thing... Well, that's a problem. Last time he was here was 2017, I believe. That's when I got to interview him. Stephanie Nadolny was supposed to come as well, but she wasn't able to at the time.
Wait, you interviewed Vic Mignogna?
Yeah, great guy. Absolutely fantastic to hang out with.
Dude, I would love to see that interview.
Oh, it's audio. I printed it in a magazine as well, but I've just got to release the audio of it.
Fair enough. I'll be looking forward to it if you ever do.
I'll let Crumb know, definitely.
We have a
But yeah,
fellow
it's
Aussie, Senor de Mendoza. It's an Aussie.
I'll bring him on. But yeah, Australia is becoming the new normal. Australia is sort of experiencing what the new normal is going to become as far as conventions go. Smaller events, larger venues, and real restrictions on who they can have. Also a restriction on the number of panels that they can have and the number of people they can have in a panel room at a time. If you thought it was hard to get in before, it's going to get a lot worse.
That would be big.
Son of
a bitch.
Yeah, that's why Texas is like very little restriction, and Florida, same as Florida. So
look, Chris, you mentioned before about the likelihood of newcomers coming into conventions as they get older. Yeah. I didn't start going to conventions until I was in my 20s. So, like, I'm still new to this sort of thing.
Yeah. Yeah.
So when all this is already beginning to happen, and I've only been to like 3 conventions, it's like, I came into this thing too late.
Well, I was speaking more so to the people who are going to be kind of indoctrinated into convention society, right? So like the people who just like spend 4 or 5 years going to convention, it's like, well, I've always went to it, you know. You're one of the later ones that it's like you're coming across to it and you're like, oh my god, this is amazing. You're more of the nostalgia factor, right? When you're looking into it, it's like, wow, these are things that I grew up with and blah blah blah. That's the other. When you're looking at conventions as an organizer, you're looking at 2 things. You're looking at how to bring in new blood, which is like 15 and under, and you're looking at bringing in nostalgia, which is like 20 plus, because those are the 2 factors you need to balance when you're running a convention in order to bring in the audience.
Yeah, that's how Anime Week in Atlanta was like, because we had a lot of folks who are base basically who grew up with our show, and then married, had kids, and were bringing their kids to the show.
Exactly.
So, yeah,
that's the gold standard.
We have our crowd that like, get your Pokemon off my lawn group.
Yeah,
and there's a lot of factors
Gen 1ers and the Gen 6ers.
You were saying, sir?
Oh, sorry. And there's a lot of factors that will contribute to that. The type of guests that you choose, the type of vendors that you have coming along as well. Yes. Having to have that cross appeal.
Absolutely.
That, and we had very unique and engaging panels. So if you totally were not there for any of our guests, we had events and stuff that made up for that. And that's what a lot of folks, people, we had our haters too on Vic, because Vic came to our show just about every year. And people were like, I don't want to see Vic. I said, well, you don't have to see Vic. We have other guests. We have lots of panels and stuff like that. And they're like, oh, yeah, I like your so-and-such panel or this and this event that you have every year. I said, well, see, there you go.
I just noticed something Demon Wolf posted in the chat. It's sad that Supernova is the only one I can find that does requests. They're not the only ones. Just contact whoever's local to you. I'm in South Australia, and we have one called AvCon, and you can request guests through them as well.
Literally any convention, honestly. You can request a guest. It's up to the convention to invite them, obviously, because cost depending and budget depending, but if there's enough demand for guests, they'll definitely bring somebody in.
Exactly.
Particularly when they allow foreign guests.
When they're able to, yeah.
Yeah. Absolutely.
I mean, the only international guest we have at the moment is Spike Spencer, and that's because since COVID started, he's been holed up at the Sunshine Coast, I believe, in Queensland.
Oh, well, there you go.
Not a bad place to be.
No, that's true.
Stuck.
Right on.
Well, that's good.
Well, did you have anything else, Diz, before we move on?
Not this time. Thanks for having me on.
No problem. Thank you so much for calling in. I appreciate you.
Glad to meet you.
Talk to you later. Cheers. Same here.
All right, we have Tom P,
Uh-oh.
purveyor of the
Kitty.
scary kitty. Be careful. He's going to hiss at you, Stan. It's going to happen.
Why?
Tom, welcome to the stream.
Down there, he had it on cue.
Hey guys.
There he is.
How are you?
Welcome, Tom. Welcome back. It's been a minute.
Yeah, it's been a while.
Yeah.
So, Crumb,
Yes.
I take it you like that cereal selection I came up with.
Very good. Very good.
I got to share this with everybody. I was in Walmart doing some grocery shopping, and I had to get some cereal. And sure enough, there was a breakfast cereal that was called Minecraft Creeper Crunch.
Oh, yeah.
What the?
And I was like, oh, goddamn. Seriously?
Yeah, he literally found an Emmett Plant cereal.
Yep.
Did you send a picture to him?
I think Crumb needs to see this. So I snapped a picture and sent it off to him real quick. And
very cool.
So Stan.
Yes, sir.
I am sorry we did not cross paths
I think we looked at each other and didn't even realize who we were looking at.
Who knows? The only thing I can tell you is that I just kind of have a glower about myself at times. If you think back to when The Undertaker started with his career, and he always had that glower.
Tom, are you a very, very tall individual?
I am.
Yeah, okay, then I did see you.
It's kind of hard to miss me because I'm big too.
Yes. I was sitting down in that lazy chair.
Oh, okay. Well, you should have come up and asked.
Well, I didn't know you were actually going to show up, Tom.
Well, to be honest with you, I was supposed to come up that Friday, but it was raining really bad where I live, and I drive a high-performance car, and that's not fun driving on a wet road.
Yes.
Can't imagine.
Completely understand.
Yeah. So I got in touch with Ray, and I asked him, I said, Ray, do you mind if I come up on Saturday instead? And he said, sure, no problem. You're practically family. I was like, okay, cool. So showed up there at about 12 o'clock or so. Yep. So, I was the guy that was wearing the huge Joker shirt, and it said on the back of it. And Vic saw that, and he's like,
Nice.
So, but anyway, if you remember who I am next time, just come up and say hello. I promise I won't bite you. I might hiss at you, but I won't bite you.
Tom, before you go,
yes.
Can I just say that you sound like you could be a narrator in a film noir show?
It's funny you mention that because my mom, when she was alive, she always used to think that I was going to go into broadcasting.
See, that's what I thought. You seem to have the perfect voice for broadcasting.
Well, you'd be surprised because I've thought about, and I've discussed this with you, Crumb, a time or two about maybe throwing my hat in the ring, even though I am 50, going on 51 now. Trying some voice acting, possibly.
Yeah, why not?
Neat.
Sure.
I do the voices. What was it? The last time I was on, Junior was on. For thousands of years, people stared at me over there across the river.
Audiobooks too.
Love it. Yeah, audiobooks. I hear, audiobooks are a really persuasive, permeating profession right now.
Yeah, well,
at least that's boasted by a particular person whose name we shall not mention.
Really super duper important. Everyone knows who you are in audiobooks, apparently.
Well, I got a story to tell you, Stan, real quick.
Yes, sir.
Vic thought he was going to steal one of my Phantom of the Opera CDs that I was showing.
Was he?
Oh, and I said, oh, no, you don't. No. But I always make sure to give him some extra hot flaming Cheetos.
Awesome.
And he said, he says, Tom always knows what I like. He knows I like that spicy food.
He does like the spicy food.
He likes the spicy food. And then while I was there, went out to dinner a couple of times with him.
Did you?
He had to have those people give him something to spice up his food even more. Tried to get it to a next level, and then some.
Well, I can tell you right now, Stan, if you guys come to where I'm at, there is a Thai place that will absolutely knock his socks off that I know of.
Well, that would be great. That'd be great.
So, but don't be a stranger next time. I mean, I promise I won't bite you. I might hiss at you, but I ain't gonna bite you.
All right, Tom. Looking forward to it, buddy.
Thank
you so much, Tom, for hanging out. Appreciate you.
Sure thing, Chrome. Take care, guys. Good talking to you.
Yep.
Good meeting you.
Good meeting you, sir. Take care.
All right, we have JT Plays up next. Thank you so much for hanging on. Welcome.
I think Queen says she got herself headphones. We'll get her.
Queen Luna's in queue.
Okay, Queen's ready. All right, you need to put the YouTube on mute.
JT Plays.
There we go. Oh, darn.
Echo. It's okay. We'll get JT Plays on here in just a moment. No worries. We'll get Gav on here.
All right, somebody else has got.
Hello?
Yeah, what the heck?
Hello, Gav.
Hello, Gav. Can you hear me?
We can hear you, Gav.
Awesome.
Is it the Harem's doing?
Let me
got
check.
a double on right now.
Somebody's got a.
Oh, there we go.
Hello.
Hello.
There we go.
Hey, Gav.
I'm not repeating myself, am I?
Oh, I am.
I have everything else muted, and the echo goes away when I mute myself. Apparently, I shouldn't be talking anymore.
Or Harema.
God
Right,
damn
have to mute
it.
yourself.
All right.
All right, go ahead.
You can
Gav.
go ahead, Gav.
Okay. I just want to say it's an absolute pleasure finally talking to all of you.
Good to have you on. I got your email.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Well, thank you for reading it. I was it's honestly really grind to my gear what actually happens. It just, I don't know what it was. It was just like, for God's sake. Like, how stupid and gullible can you people be?
Seriously.
It's almost like they don't want money.
They don't. They don't want your money. They want the virtue points instead. They want the virtual dollars instead of the actual dollars.
Yeah.
It reminds me of another convention who we will remain nameless, where their staffers pretty much dictated what was going on at their show, not the owner, and the owner pretty much just let them run roughshod. So yeah.
I know, like, the kind of hot topic is always about Vic and stuff like that, but like, I think it goes a little bit beyond him as well. Just kind of setting a terrible precedent and standard for what may happen to other people in the future.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
And mind you, like, just to kind of say this for a moment, I was not a fan of Vic at all. Like, at all.
Perfectly fine.
Like, I was not into anime. I was more kind of like, Kevin Conroy was my guy.
Right.
And then,
Batman.
yeah, pretty much. That's like, I wasn't really into that because the guys who watched anime when I was in secondary school, which would be high school in what you would consider high school, they were kind of weird. I'm sorry. Me being a Batman fan, this kind of like, why are you calling the weirdos weird, you weirdo? But yeah, no, just I watched what was it? I watched Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood in like the end of 2018. I was like, oh, okay, this was a good show. And then the stuff came out, and then I didn't think much of it. Like I was like, oh shit, that was And then I kind of started looking a little bit into it more, and then I don't know, several thousand documents down the line, 12 hours of depositions. Yeah, I think I'm pretty informed in my opinion now.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, and that's the problem. Like half of these people, half of these conventions, they don't actually read anything except what's put right in front of them.
Because it's easy.
It's easy, yep. Social media, yep. Get a digest of stuff, yep.
Yeah, no, it's just kind of like these, like, they're there, they're doing a quote-unquote job, which is scanning the Twitter of, or fucking Facebook, or the emails of this, say, a company or a con, stuff like that. And to be honest, they're just blasting through it. Whatever's the easiest route they'll take. And then I don't blame all of them, because like if you don't know any of this stuff going on, you'd be like, "What's this?"
Yep, you're right.
Yeah, it's like, ooh, that's bad press. That's not good. That's not good for my job.
The thing is like these conventions need to realize they would do so much more for themselves by standing by their decisions and standing up against these lunatics than they do by giving in to them.
The funny thing is, the main con we have over here is Dublin Comic Con, and that happens every August, and it usually gathers around 20,000 people. And there's another one called Ireland Comic Con. It's kind of smaller, like you'd maybe get like 5,000 people or so, and I wouldn't usually go to them, and then they announce Vic, and I'm telling you now, they got more people to come in, because he had the longest fucking line at that convention, and mind you, Troy Baker was there.
Ooh.
That's insane. So good.
It was so strange, and like he was the first person there out of any of the guests. The guy who plays Chekhov, I'm sorry, I don't know his real name. He was also a guest there. Vic went over to him, and I saw this because I was in the line, and they were hugging and greeting each other, stuff like that. Vic went back to his table, and he was just like, he started interacting with the crowd. It's like, hey guys, just there's something with the prices. I think we may be a bit cheaper. So yay. But being in the queue with the other people waiting in line was so funny, because we're all kind of like, shh, don't mention hugs, don't talk about this.
Right.
But we're all joking. That's like, oh my god, Vic touched me, just stuff like that. Just we were joking because we couldn't believe it. And I have to say, he was an absolute sweetheart.
Yep, that's why I call him my friend. So
absolutely,
I've known him for decades. So
yeah, and if I may, thank you, Stalin. Stan. I just saw Stan and Don Stalin.
Someone said that I stand with Stalin, and I'm like, what?
But
forever Stalin now.
It just thank you, Stan, for being honest, and then thank you, Press, for hosting this, and then Harma. Hello.
Absolutely, I will.
I
100%.
give you a
100%.
I give you a quote.
And it's going to echo in just a moment.
Echo.
Damn it! It is my fault.
I'll give you a quote. When someone tried to get a hold of me to let me know what was going on with Vic's case, because let me tell you, when it first happened, I was not on social media. I did not know anything about it when it first started. I didn't know about it until late June. I was not on social media that much at all, and none of my friends were talking about it. So, and none of them even mentioned it to me that, hey, look, are you following this case with Vic? And they all thought I was following it, but I wasn't. That's why I asked that question. So when that a document, a legal document came out with that named me, my first response was, "What the hell is she talking about?"
Can I just ask a question?
Sure.
Why do you think she went to you specifically? Even though you're out of the con game, or so you've said before.
Yes, I was completely out of the con. I've been out of it since 2013. Why did she pick me? Oh, I don't know. Could have been, let's see, around what? That I'm a close friend of Vic's. That around 2016, she and I got into a heated argument online about illegal immigration, and then figured out that I was on the other side of her opinion on that. I'll give you a hint. She was for illegal immigration. So, but yeah, probably more to the fact that I was a friend of Vic's.
Yeah, no, it was just so strange because she was like, "Oh, we have Stan back us up," and then you're like, "Wait, what?"
Yeah, pretty much.
That makes no sense to me because that's like shooting yourself in the foot.
Yeah, she had plenty of time to get a hold of me, and the only time she actually did get a hold of me was July 11th, which was what, a week, 2 weeks after her deposition. And what, she thought I wasn't not going to find out about it? Oh, well, guess what? You know, all those Kick Vic and maybe Vic stands tried to figure out where I was and alerted me to her shenanigans.
Yeah, just madness.
Yep.
Nutty.
And it makes me sad because we were very close friends. Yeah. And then what made me even more sad for her was when she sided with American Tail. Well, I'm not going to say his actual name. It doesn't need to be said. Because she didn't like him at all. And the fact that she accepted a affidavit from him makes me, look at her like, you're a hypocrite. Yeah. You over here, you hated his guts, and then now you accept the affidavit. That's lovely.
Yeah. Well, like Nick said on his stream the other day, it doesn't matter. They're playing the mission, not the man. Like, it doesn't matter about the person. It doesn't matter about your morals. You're compromising your morals for the mission, which makes a beta female. Like you said. Honestly what it is. Yeah, honestly what it is.
There is a difference between justifying your morals with your... The moment that one person decided to show up, that echo is going to forever haunt me.
I'm sorry, Harima.
Anyway, before I do it again, there is a difference between justifying your actions with your morals and justifying your morals with your actions.
Exactly.
And people are making a huge mistake differentiating the two.
Very good. You got it all out.
There you go. And Gav, I wanted to say I am very much about the Irish right now. My heritage,
thank you
my
very
Irish
much.
Whiskey.
Oh,
Been down
very
that
nice.
all day. I'm on my 4th glass now.
Oh my goodness.
I know.
It's so fiery though. We have do you know what poutine is?
Sorry?
Do you know what poutine is?
No.
So it's basically our version of like moonshine.
Oh, I need this in my life.
It's no, you really don't. It's literally like petrol.
That'd be amazing, though.
Drink it and you go.
It'd be one. That'd be like one glass done. You're saving so much money.
Oh, it's cheap. Like, you can make it yourself out the back, for God's sake. But yeah, it's
So instead of 1 nail in the coffin, it's more like 10.
There you go.
Yeah, definitely.
Whoa.
It's strong shit.
Thank you so much, Gav, for joining. Do you have anything else before we boot you off?
No, I thank you for letting me come on and talk. I'm been a fan of the show for quite a while now, and I really enjoy the content.
That's awesome. Thank you so much for hanging out. I appreciate it.
Thanks, guys. Really appreciate it. Have a good night.
Take care. I think JT Plays is ready. I hope. JT Plays.
Hey.
There we go.
There we go.
Yes.
Without an echo. Oh. That's good.
Yep, you're
Go ahead before we get another echo.
Oh, sorry. I thought the thing froze because I didn't hear any of you guys. But yeah, I've watched this show. I remember the first time I tuned in was when you guys had when you Crumb had Ron on.
Oh my God, yeah.
And that was a whole thing. What else was I trying?
The Toy Story.
Yes, that. But I'm not sure if you guys have heard, but let me see here. So I just recently found this out. I read this on the Kiwi Farms, but a voice actor named hold on here. What's her name? Alison Victorin has retired from voice acting, and this may have to do with the Click at Funimation stuff, because when the January 6th thing was going on, she made a tweet that the people going up to the Capitol were heroes, and as you know, Funimation's Click doesn't like stuff like that.
I haven't heard of that yet, but that's very interesting.
Yeah, I just found this out today. Allison, let me see. Am I pronouncing her name right? But she was the voice of one of the characters in Railgun, not the main one, but I'm just curious, Stan, have you ever met this person? Because I know you've been on the convention scene for a while.
No, it doesn't sound familiar now.
All right. But yeah. While I understand and don't agree with her on the whole Capitol thing, I find it kind of odd how Funimation will blacklist, or the anime community, voiceover community as a whole, will blacklist her for saying that, but not Jamie for her whole school shooting thing that she posted.
It comes back to what Nick was saying about putting the mission before the man. Really, it's about virtue signaling, right? I know someone said, someone in chat said that Rekieta is totally about the mission. Rekieta definitely, no shade on Rekieta. He's very much about content and all that stuff. That's fine. There's nothing wrong with that. What we're talking about here, though, we're talking about voice actors that are putting morals before, like morals of a narrative before themselves. Now, one thing I will say about Rekieta is he puts his own morals before anything else. Like, if it came down to Vic or himself, he would put himself first, which I would assume everybody in the chat would do. Unless you're a psychopath,
like Ron,
or like some of these individuals. But most people would protect themselves before they go against anybody else. But the Nick is about the whiskey, exactly.
Exactly. Oh, bribe him with a good bottle of whiskey. There we go.
Exactly. But the thing is here is that it's putting the mission before the man, and I think in his massive drunk rant, he accidentally hit the truth here. was that these people are taking away their morals, right? They're putting their morals on the bench for the sake of the mission, and they're putting the narrative before themselves. So like we're talking about beta females, we're talking about beta males, all this other stuff, gamma males, in this instance. But we're talking about people that are literally going so far as to sell themselves out and make themselves fucking hypocrites. Emmett, I'm looking at you, by the way. You're selling yourself out and making yourself a complete fucking clown in a circus to sell a narrative. Like what for?
I hate to break to these people, but it's not going to go too well for them in the end.
No.
I mean, the stuff that they're doing is just going to hurt them. The anime community as a whole, there's like a big divide. This is my opinion, by the way, guys. A big divide between fans and voice actors, and even non-Vic related stuff. I seem to see more of the fans or the VAs bickering with the fans, or vice versa.
No, I mean, I agree. Conventions should be focused on their fans. They should stop listening to fucking psychopaths on social media. Like, we started this stream, right? We started this stream with a clip from Star Trek 6. And they're savages.
Yeah, replace the word Klingons with these woke folks.
Exactly, these woke folk. It's like, but they're going to die. Let them die.
Let them cling on to their.
Let them die.
That's a good one, Jake.
Yeah.
Let them cling on. The point here is that these people, they don't contribute anything. They don't create anything. All they do is destroy. That's all they do. And if it takes them getting to a point where they are on their doorstep of destruction to finally figure out that maybe this is the bad path, then fucking so be it. So be it. Like, if you're willing to lie in court on a fucking on a notarized document, you're willing to lie for the sake of fucking what? Like, really, Emmett, what are you doing? You're supposedly this fucking, like, individual that's, like, worth so much money and blah, 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 blah. No one fucking knows who you are, first of all. No one cares who you are. You're a nobody in the Star Trek community. Number fucking 4. But the whole point is like, what are you doing it for? He said on his fucking Twitter that he's willing to take time off of work to make sure that Vic doesn't go to a convention. You took time off of work for what? Nothing. You did nothing.
How desperate.
Literally nothing. Fuck all. He did fuck all. He did nothing but take credit for other people and play patsy. Is that worth losing time for? Like, Jesus Christ.
The only thing I can agree with Emmett is him being all for or meeting up people and fighting with them, which is apparently what he wants to do.
Yeah.
Well, hey, Emmett.
Yeah, absolutely.
Maybe
I'm sorry,
a good
continue.
boot up your ass will strain you out, boy.
And I saw that somebody replied to his post when he made that comment that, hey, bring it on. We'll do it for charity, MMA style. You name the place or in the con.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Well, I know that Joker Jason in chat. How can anyone prove who lied on these affidavits? You can't. That's the whole point. You can't prove that they lied. You can't prove at all anything that they said was correct or true or wrong or whatever else. You can't verify it. Which is why, in my opinion, affidavits are a joke, because at the time of them swearing in, if they believe it was true, then they're fine. Which is garbage. At the time, if I believed that Emmett was fucking lying through his teeth, I can fucking write an affidavit and swear it and say that I believe he was lying at the time. Proving perjury is probably the most difficult fucking thing to do unless you're talking about a matter of fact. If you're saying that I saw this person at this place and I am testifying to that, and it turns out that's not true, that's perjury. If you say, well, I believe that this person did this, and it turns out it wasn't true, that's your opinion. You can't know. That's the whole point. That's why the fucking defendants went this route. That's why they got 17 affidavits to fucking lie about Vic Mignogna. Because you can't prove it. You can't prove it. There's no fucking way to prove it.
Yeah.
In the case of Emmett, you got Emmett. People found tweets that on the event, during the event, where he tweeted out that he was in love with Vic's hair.
Yeah.
During that show, so if he saw something,
dude that really fucking hated him, right? Really fucking hated him.
Oh,
well,
sorry,
that's the thing. That's the thing, Joker Jason. You said it again. They lied about Vic, but you can't prove. You can't prove. The point is the person making the statement that is false has to back up the statement, not the person saying that they lied. If I'm saying that you're lying about me, it's not the burden of proof on me saying that you lied about me. You have to prove that what you're saying about me is true. That's the burden of proof. That's where we're stuck at here.
A lot of people on Twitter seem to not understand that.
A lot of people in the world don't fucking understand that. Apparently, convention owners don't understand that. That is the burden of proof. If you are saying something about somebody, you have to back it up with evidence. Or if you don't back it up with evidence, then you are assumed to be lying. Where these individuals did not back it up with evidence. And when given the opportunity to, they instead fought the fucking... they fought the edges of the conversation instead of the topic of the conversation. Yeah, Twitter is a cesspool. I agree. Sorry, JT Plays. I'm like talking right over your points here.
It's all right. But yeah, I fully agree with everything you said there.
And did you have anything before we move on to the next person?
Only thing I have to say is, to those who are feeling kind of black-pilled about how Vic's situation is going on, me personally, I'm not too down in the dumps. I mean, I want to see Vic win, of course, but even if Vic loses in court, I don't see people crawling back to these VAs. And their little gatekeeping shenanigans and stuff is only going to hurt them even more. I don't want to say his name, but somebody I talked to who is in the voice acting industry told me that the mentality that's in that industry that's hurting it is, hey, if somebody gets canceled, oh well, that's an opportunity for me to shine.
They're gonna find out real quick. They're gonna find out real quick.
Not if their business is losing money.
Yeah, they're gonna find out real quick. So, and mark my words, they're going to cancel the wrong person who's going to open Pandora's box and just let everything fly out. We won't need Vic to, or not Vic. We won't need Nick to go on live stream and drop the bomb because they'll already do it for him.
Exactly.
So that's all I had to say. Thank you for having me on my show, Crumb.
Thank you so much, JT Plays. I appreciate you calling in.
Thanks.
Have a good night, Tom. Let's see.
Queen Luna. Queued up. I hope we got you. Queen Luna.
There she is.
Hey. How you doing?
I hear some laughing.
We got you on audio this time.
We hear something.
It sounds like Animal Crossing talking. We're gonna move on to Anime Girl 2.0. Thank you so much for being patient. Anime Girl 2.0, are you still with us? We got Harriman back with us.
Okay, am I echoing now?
You're not echoing.
Wait, no?
You're not echoing. You're good.
Oh, thank God.
Hey,
No.
can you hear me now?
We can hear
Yeah,
you
we
now,
can hear
Anime Girl.
you.
Welcome.
Oh my god, I sound so much like a hick on.
You sound awesome. That's good.
Hey, what's up, guys?
Welcome
How
to
are
the
ya?
show. Welcome. Thank you so much for being patient.
Oh, thanks. Oh, please, I live out in the woods. I'm just amazed I'm even getting through a signal at the moment. I guess if I can speak freely,
Sure.
Yeah,
my little
absolutely.
experience with Vic when I met him in a 2008 ACON convention in Dallas.
Mm.
I had an amazing experience with him. He was really sweet. He was genuine. I would have spent hours talking to him if I didn't have like 500 people behind me waiting in line. And also, I never saw him, grab someone inappropriately. I didn't even see him kiss anybody back then either, like they say he does now or did. And I mean, I'm not going to say he did do something or that he didn't do anything, but I really don't believe all the horrible stories that people are saying about him.
Hera.
Echo back.
I can't win anymore.
Oh my goodness.
Go ahead, Anime Girl.
I did apparently make it onto Monica's Homeland Security list.
Oh, congratulations.
Oh, I muted the wrong person. 1 second. Sorry about that, Anime Girl. Let me unmute you.
All right.
There you go. You're good. Sorry about that. I'm like 5 whiskeys
Well, I'm
in,
having
so.
a hard time getting a signal anyways.
Well, we can
good.
still hear you.
We got you.
We got you.
Yeah, I just don't think Vic should be getting all of the slack that he's getting. It's just part of this whole stupid woke culture. And as a female, I really hate it. I really hate other females because of this kind of crap.
Absolutely.
We hear you.
I personally seen worse things happen at conventions from both guests, volunteers, and otherwise.
Attendees, yep.
Attendees,
absolutely.
It's something that is just, I think the cherry on the top of it.
Lost me.
We still hear you. Oh, she can't hear
we
us.
got you. Can you hear
We
us?
got you.
We have you, Anime Girl.
Yeah, I think
There we go.
We can hear you.
We can hear you. The thing I think it was the cherry on top was I saw on Twitter that Zoomers.
Yeah, I think they lost me.
No, we can hear you.
No, we got you.
No.
We got you. Can you hear us? Maybe.
She might be gone.
I think we lost a patient.
Hello.
Oh, there she is.
There we go. We got you.
We hear you. Nope.
Oh dear. Oh dear.
Nothing.
Hello, hello, hello.
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 Hello. Is it
Hey.
me? Hello.
They can't hear me.
We
Is
can
it
hear
me
you.
you're looking for?
Hello. Is it me you're looking for? We can hear you. Oh my goodness. So I'll finish my thought.
Good.
I saw that on Twitter today. Someone posted that Zoomers finally found Charlie Hebdo on social media. You remember years ago the place that got bombed because they posted a fucking cartoon of Muhammad with a bomb on his head
in France.
They recently posted a political cartoon with the Queen kneeling on Markle's neck.
Ooh. Wow.
And so, like, Zoomers apparently finally found out that Charlie Hebdo is a thing, and they lost their fucking minds. I mean, I wish I could have seen that fireworks display.
Wow.
It's very much the same thing. Arama, oh my god, you lasted the entire stream.
I know Harold.
I don't know why. Why is this? Okay, you know what? It could be 1,000 times worse. It could be 1,000 times worse. Because I mean, and I'm not trying to deflect it, but you know, Luna's been struggling to get out here, so it could be worse.
This is true.
I was going to say that your comment reminded me of that blonde girl from Family Guy who barely found out about Hitler. And she's like, someone should stop him, as if he wasn't dead for the past 70 years.
Oh my god!
Going back.
Who's up next?
Well, we are out of callers. Unless anyone else wants to call in, say it in chat right now if you want to call in, or else we're gonna wrap things up. We're hitting on 3 hours.
Wow, really?
Yeah, it's been crazy. It's been a good show.
Good time.
Today.
Good time.
Good talk today. Anybody else wants to let me know? I'll post the chat. I'll post the link in again. Otherwise, we're gonna wrap things up here. Who cares about the royals or anything? They're nothing but figureheads. They lost all their power long ago. It's true. It's true. But like, I will definitely say that I think that conventions as we know them are a dying breed. I think that the next thing. So one thing I will say is the next thing I think seeing to invest in that's going to be on the rise. I think festivals. I think outdoor festivals. I think giant open air free festivals are going to be the next big thing that come up, because we're going to be seeing more for guests. We're going to see more guarantees. We're going to see less appearance fees. We're going to see less appearance fees. We're going to see more guarantees. And we're going to see open air festivals. We're going to see I mean, especially in Canada right now, the biggest drawing events are like the jazz festivals. Oktoberfest, I can't even really say that because they haven't centralized it, but that's a terrible thing that they did. So Oktoberfest locally, they basically took the online convention thing in person. What I mean by this is like, it's like, okay, well, we'll just have everyone host their event at their own venue, and then we'll charge people to be at that venue. Like, why not just host it?
What?
And then eventually, like after a couple years of that happening, the beer halls were like, well, why don't we just host our own fucking event and charge people and get full price? Like, hello?
Wow.
Yeah. So They kind of fucked themselves. But yeah, open air conventions. What I mean by that is just basically like you're gonna rent out like a park. You're gonna rent out like a giant like community area, and you're gonna have conventions. You're gonna have pop-up tents. You're gonna have a concert. You're gonna like. Let me tell you this: the biggest event in this region, in Kitchener-Waterloo, is Rib and Beer Fest. Rib and Beer Fest. You have like 6 or 7 southern barbecue places selling fucking ribs and like barbecue, like pulled pork, and you have beer. Now, one of my proposals that I wanted to go to the city to go to these individuals with, and let this permeate in your mind for a minute. Have a rib, beer, and comic festival. Incorporate Free Comic Book Day into Rib and Beer Fest. Would that not be an amazing event?
Oh yeah.
Imagine. You go
free
and get
beer,
your,
yeah, oh yeah.
You go and get like your free craft beer, like whatever you spend for your craft beer, like dirt cheap. You get your fucking ribs, and then you get your free comic books. Like what the like? How can you go wrong with that? How can you go wrong with that? That's what I'm going to be proposing.
Unless the comic book is real woke.
Well, my thought would be for Free Comic Book Day. Oh my god! Because so here's just briefly before we go. There was a store that is shutting down at the end of this year called Far Out Flicks. It's the last video store in this region. Video rental store. So video rentals are like completely done. They're basically completely over now that COVID's completely kicked them in the fucking nuts so hard that they're into next Tuesday. They're shutting down permanently, and the biggest thing here from experts, quote unquote experts, is that the movie industry is moving towards more vintage movies rather than new movies, right? So if you're going to open a video store, the ones that are going to succeed are the ones that have like the titles that you can't find anymore. My opinion is the same thing about comic book stores. I think in the next year and a half, bookmark this, in the next year and a half, I think comic book stores and your local comic book shops, they're going to go under if they keep printing these new woke comic books. And I think the only things that are going to survive are the vintage comic book stores and the vintage movie stores, the vintage game stores, where you can go and you can buy stuff that you haven't seen in 50 years. You can go buy the golden age, the silver age, the platinum age of these titles. And I think Free Comic Book Day should not be brand new woke titles. I think they should be going back and grabbing a 2-cent, 50-cent, 10-cent copy of a Spider-Man or Superman from the Golden Age and getting people reintroduced to what actual fucking comic books and media were. I think getting people back into that and introducing people into what actual writing and actual fucking content was. I think that's going to be the next step into getting us back into where we need to be. But I wanted to thank our guest today, Stan Dahlin. Thank you so much for hanging out and being here. I really appreciate you.
Always a pleasure. Always a pleasure seeing you, Chris, and talking about this stuff and being able to get it off our chest.
Absolutely. This definitely helps to get it off our chest. And Harima, thank you so much for being a Supreme Canucklehead. You were amazing joining us today as well. Thank you so much.
No, not at all. It's great to be here. It was a pleasure to meet you both, and certainly worth the the ticket to it. Oh, okay. So I'm not the only one. I'm not the only one going echo here. I'm not losing my mind here.
Hey, there you go. You don't have the echo anymore. You're good.
Yeah.
You're allowed to be on the
there it
stream
is.
again.
Oh my god. Okay. So it was great for me to come here. I appreciate meeting you both. It's been a blast, and just it's wonderful insight to hear from two people that actually worked in the industry.
Absolutely. Absolutely.
So weren't you going to pimp something?
Me? Oh, yes. If you're interested in hearing what I have to say, I do two separate podcasts. The first one is on a more based on pop culture and video games and stuff and Magic the Gathering cards and whatnot. It's called The Angry Wargamer. We are on YouTube, Podbean, and Spotify. And the second one is on a more philosophical, political end. But don't worry, nothing confrontational, but just more on the general thesis evaluation analysis sort of thing. It's called Captain Mediocre's Haunted Tiki Bar. Yes, it's a name that rolls off your tongue. And we're currently available on Anchor.
Nice.
If you ever heard of that, it's a podcast app. Feel free to take a tune in because we do an episode every week and we have new episodes released every Sunday, if not Monday at the latest.
That's awesome. That's awesome. Yeah, go check those out. Go check them out. If you have links, I'll update the description later with those links, and we can include those in there as well.
Absolutely.
Absolutely. Where's Queen Luna? I wish we could get Queen Luna on here. And her microphone just wasn't cooperating. So, unfortunate, but thank you guys so much for hanging out. I really do appreciate both our Supreme Canuckleheads, Viper Talon, who's been quietly sitting in the studio. I appreciate you. Thank you so much for that donation. Stan Dahlin, I appreciate you. Harima, you guys are amazing. Amazing. And it's been a great show. It's been good to do a full Canuckleheads. Like, I know I've been doing breakaways, but it's so nice to have people to like bounce stuff off of. So appreciate all of you.
Always good.
Yeah, you guys are amazing. Thank you guys in the chat for being here as well. You guys have been super duper awesome. Very engaging. We appreciate you all. If you want to check us out on Patreon, Canuckleheads is the place. You too can be a Supreme Canucklehead, be included in the shows. Otherwise, if you just want to help out, go for it. We have that as well. At least $5 will get you into our Discord, which is, I mean, not a whole lot's happening there, but hey, something may happen eventually. Appreciate you all. And at Darkside EV, if you're looking to follow me on Twitter, you'll see all of my updates there. I'm live on Twitch almost every day. Check me out. Yes. I am 5 whiskeys in, so this is probably a good time to call it. Thank you all so much for hanging out. This has been Canuckleheads. Bye bye.